Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. It's just Bryant and Connor today. No Brett Norsworthy. He's out, taking the Friday off. He'll be back on Monday. Big week next week as Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we'll be at Southwind for the FedEx St. Jude Championship. I know we're all really excited about that. Brett taking a little bit of a day off, but we've got you covered here for the next 3 hours. You're listening to Sports Time. A lot we got to get into today. I thought that it was going to be kind of not really a slow day, but I thought we were going to spend a lot of this first segment talking about the Hall of Fame game last night. I thought we were going to kind of recap the trade deadline in Major League Baseball. And then the big news from the NFL came out. We do have to talk Terry McLaurin. That news came out last night about the same time we were getting off, so we did not get to discuss that yesterday. We'll have to talk about that. But now we have another player in the same division requesting a trade, Micah Parsons. That came out about an hour or so ago. So Terry McLaurin, Micah Parsons, the two latest NFL stars to request a trade. So we definitely have to start there, but a super busy show. Memphis got a wide receiver commitment from the transfer portal last night that we'll have to talk about as well. We'll talk NFL, we'll talk college football, we'll talk Major League Baseball throughout today's show. But let's start with the Micah Parsons news. He has, at least according to him on his social media, he has requested a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. This all started this morning when the Athletic's Diana Rossini reported, quote, "The Micah Parsons-Cowboys relationship has deteriorated to the point where the star pass rusher is considering drastic measures which could include a trade request or even a declaration that he is severing his relationship with the team," per league sources. Earlier today, me and Elijah were filling in for Dave during Willow and Friends. We kind of talked about this, and I told Elisha, I said, I'm not really worried about this until I hear Micah Parsons say, I want a trade, I want out of Dallas, I do not want to be a Dallas Cowboy anymore. I'm not going to be worried about it because it felt like with the way Diana Rossini reported it, the way it was coming out, kind of everything that's happened over the last week or so regarding this felt like Micah Parsons and his agent getting together and saying, we need to put some pressure on the Cowboys. Let's, float this information out to Diana Rossini that we're frustrated. We could reach drastic measures, and then, the media, the fan base, everyone will hop on the Cowboys, and they'll feel pressured, and they'll have to give us an extension. They'll have to work with us. And so I said I wasn't worried. Until I heard Micah Parsons say something, I was not worried. Not even 3 hours later, Micah Parsons made a post on social media. It was a long, written-out statement from him, from the Notes app that he posted on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it now. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it was very long, but he said a lot of things. Some of the takeaways from what he said. He said he started off by saying he wanted to be here, wanting to be in Dallas, but that then continued and said, quote, "Unfortunately, I no longer want to be here," end of quote. He said, I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying it on the line for the organization, our fans, and my teammates. He said his agent reached out last offseason in hopes of getting a deal done early. They didn't get the deal done last offseason, obviously. And after this year, he told his agent, made it sound like immediately after the season was over, told his agent to reach out again. His agent told him, hey, sit tight, wait a little bit. That price is going to go up. There's some other guys that are going to get deals. Let's wait and get the best deal this offseason. But according to Micah Parsons, he told his agent that he didn't care and wanted a deal with the Cowboys done so he could secure his long-term future in Dallas and did not care about the amount of money that it would mean. If that meant getting less than some of these other guys or kind of starting it where everyone else gets higher than him, he didn't care. He just wanted to get the deal done, and he said the Cowboys went radio silent. He said in March he met with Jerry Jones, had a back and forth with him on what he wanted from his contract, but Parsons said, quote, at no point did I believe it was supposed to be a formal negotiation, and I informed Mr. Jones afterward my agent would reach out thinking this would get things done, end of quote. But when his agent reached out, his agent was told that the deal was pretty much already done. Quote, at that point, we decided that we would allow the team to reach out to us whenever they decided they wanted to talk, end of call. End of quote. Micah Parsons said they didn't get a call, email, or text to his agent from the team. And then he said up to today, the team has not had a single conversation with his agent about the contract. He said there was no demands that were put out there from his side. Nothing kind of, we're demanding this amount of money, we're demanding this many years, nothing like that from his side. And then he said he still stayed quiet. He stayed quiet after repeated shots at himself and all of the narratives. He has made the tough decision that he no longer wants to play for the Dallas Cowboys. And, quote, my trade request has been submitted to Stephen Jones personally. So Ron texted in and says, Parsons wants to go to a winning team. Thanks, Ron. I mean, honestly, at this point, I've said it multiple times. It feels like every day I wake up and I see something news-related with the Dallas Cowboys, and it's never anything good. Now, I kind of read all the highlights of this this statement from Micah Parsons, and it makes it sound like he's not happy. He doesn't like how this has played out. He wants out of Dallas. But I guess we should say that this is kind of the same exact thing that happened with Myles Garrett, and now he has a deal. He's going to be with the Browns. The Browns did not trade him, and all signs sound like make it seem like everything's fine there now with this. So I'm more if you ask me now, if you had asked me at 10 a.m. this morning when we first started talking about this, what my concern level was, probably wasn't very high. You ask me my concern level now, it is increasingly more worried than it was at 10 a.m. this morning. Connor, I'll ask you your concern level with this Micah Parsons situation and how serious he is about wanting out of Dallas.
I'm very concerned. It seems like this always happens with Jerry Jones. It happened with Dak. It happened with Zeke. It happened a little bit with CD. Didn't hear a lot about it. This is the farthest I think it's gone with any of those guys.
Yeah, it definitely feels like this is the most contentious it's gotten to this point. Now, I immediately, when I saw this news, I immediately went and tried to find. I'm not very familiar with the Dallas sports radio scene, so I don't know. But I just kind of searched Dallas sports radio, and I clicked the first one that popped up, and I started listening to what they were saying about it. And the thing that I've gotten since this news came out, reading from people in Dallas, listening to people in Dallas, Micah Parsons is viewed as a very savvy person, a very good businessman, that he knows how – that was one thing that they said like 3 times, because I heard the tail end of one show and the start of another show. Both shows said this, and I read it somewhere else. He knows how to play the game. He knows what he's doing. You look at him; he has all these. He's in commercials. He has a bunch of sponsorships. He's got the podcast. Like, he knows how to play the game. He's not dumb. And so that a lot of people think, in Dallas at least, think this was just kind of that. We got to be super aggressive. We're going to put it out there that we want to trade. They're probably not going to trade, but maybe this will push them to get the deal done. And that's kind of the view that they're saying. The consensus I got, and I texted one of my buddies that lives in Dallas, and I asked him to kind of get a gauge for me of the fans in Dallas of what they're saying. But it seems to them that they're not going to sound the alarms until Micah Parsons says, I'm not playing in a game. Like, if we get to the regular season and he still doesn't have a deal done, and he says, I'm sitting out of games, then that's when the concern actually starts.
Well, that's what I think it's going to end up. It's either he plays, we pay him, or he sits, which would lead to a trade.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what happens from here. Another thing that I heard from the Dallas radio shows I was listening to is that I guess there's this perception that Micah doesn't like being a Cowboy and Micah doesn't want to be a Cowboy.
Well, that's what also keeps me confident. I think the relationship with the teammates is the best it could be.
I agree. But, like, they were talking about, like, I don't think Micah wants to be a Cowboy. I don't think he's bought into the Cowboys. And I was like, I don't get that feeling.
Yeah, I don't see that.
And one thing that again, I don't know any of these people. I don't know this station. I don't know anything about the Dallas sports radio scene. But one of the guys was like, yeah, we always see him wearing like 76ers jerseys and we hear how much he loves Philadelphia. He grew up 2 hours outside of Philadelphia. Like, are you nuts? And of course he likes Philadelphia. He grew up being a fan of Philadelphia sports. So, but I'm definitely worried about this for the Cowboys. I hope that this is just kind of that last ditch effort for Mike Parsons to feel like, he wants to get this deal done and hopes that, this will put the pressure on them to get that deal done. I think the biggest thing with this, though, is he makes some good points of like, and I saw Des Bryant had a tweet or a couple tweets out there kind of about the situation. Like, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones aren't doing themselves any favors. When Jerry Jones comes out here and says, well, we can give him a deal, but that doesn't mean he's going to be out there. He's had some injuries, and, I don't know if we really want to, what kind of deal we want to give a guy if he's going to miss, all these games. It's like, what are you even talking about? Like, why would you even say that? And then Stephen Jones, and now here's kind of the thing of who's really telling which side is telling the truth. I think I know which side's telling the truth. But Mike Parsons says in his statement that it's been radio silent. The team hasn't reached out to his agent to kind of talk about a contract. But Stephen Jones just said last weekend that we want to give Mike Parsons a contract, but he wants to also get a contract, and kind of made it sound like, well, we're doing everything we need to do, but his side's not doing what they need to do to get a contract. So it seems like a couple different stories coming out here with the Micah Parsons situation. But another thing that I heard was these these guys on Dallas radio made it sound like Dallas is gonna be fine if they have to move on Micah Parsons. And I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't mind that.
Really?
I think what we would get back would be a lot. I think what the Cowboys would get back is a lot.
But you're also trading a guy that has been top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year the last 3 seasons.
Well, I don't think they're saying we're going to be all world. The Cowboys are going to be all world.
It made it sound like, hey, we won't miss a beat without him. I mean, he's one of the best defensive players in the league.
I don't agree with don't miss a beat.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. That's another great text. Someone else texted, ask Emmett about holding out. Jones didn't cave. That's a great point. Like, you also got to remember who you're dealing with here. Like, you play by Jerry Jones' rules. And that's, another thing about this is right now the Cowboys have all the leverage here. Other than the fans want Mike Parsons to get a deal, Mike Parsons has no leverage in this conversation. I mean, because he's still under contract and will be under contract. Like, that's not going to change. Like you said, he either gets a deal and everything's fine, or he has to make a decision when the regular season starts of, do I want to lose out on a bunch of money because I'm actively taking myself out of games and not playing?
Yeah, nothing's going to happen before the season.
Yeah,
except for a contract, maybe.
Oh yeah,
no trade is going to happen before the season.
No, I'm with you on that. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this story as it develops. I know Stephen Jones was around, I believe, when this news came out. They were maybe doing player interviews at camp, and someone tried to ask Stephen Jones for a comment, and he very quickly said no comment. So we'll keep an eye on this situation as we get closer to the season. But let us know your thoughts on this situation with Micah Parsons. What do you think happens? Do you think he actually gets traded? Do you think that he gets a contract? Let us know on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line 901-360-8255. I also want to know how much of the Hall of Fame game people watch. We're going to talk a little bit of Hall of Fame game. I thought that's what we were going to lead the show with and spend this entire first segment talking about. But boy, was I wrong. How much of the Hall of Fame game did you watch? Did you enjoy it? Because I really did. Brett, and it's something that I hadn't really thought of until Brett said it, the Hall of Fame game is really just a 3-hour talk show. and you're just kind of watching it because it's football, but it's really to kind of hear about the upcoming season, hear about these two teams, and that's really what it is. It was the A team on NBC, Chris Collinsworth, Mike Tirico, which made it really fun. They were obviously talking about those two teams and kind of what to expect this season. They had the four Hall of Fame inductees there. They were interviewing them during the game. They were telling stories about them. Brett mentioned yesterday that Brent Musburger was going to join the booth in the second half. He joined the booth in the third quarter, and it was literally like 20 minutes of him just telling stories, which was really fun. So I enjoyed it a lot. It was fun watching Trey Lance do his thing out there for the Chargers. So we'll talk a little bit of Hall of Fame, but obviously the big story in the NFL right now, Micah Parsons requesting a trade, saying he no longer wants to be a Dallas Cowboy. Well, we've got a busy show today, so let me set it up before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Alan Bell from Driving the Line. He'll join us. We'll talk some wagering. A lot to get to with Alan. We'll ask him, start getting some futures from Alan Bell, college football and NFL, because welcome to August. It is August 1st. We play real football, games that count, in this month at the end of the month. So we will definitely talk a lot of futures with Alan Bell. We'll get his thoughts on the trade deadline and get some picks for Major League Baseball. 3:45, we'll talk some Tiger football. They got a commitment from Nevada transfer wide receiver Cortez Braham last night. A big get for him. You talk about this, and we kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday, but this wide receiver, it's a lot of guys, this wide receiver room, a lot of guys that are inexperienced, a lot of guys that haven't been out there on the field a ton in their career. And so you get a guy that last year had about 800 receiving yards for Nevada. So a get that will definitely help you, bring some veteran experience to that wide receiver room. We'll talk about that. A couple more stories at 3:45. 4 o'clock, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider and CBS Sports. He'll join us, talk some more wagering with him, get his thoughts on this Micah Parsons situation, get some, maybe talk a little football in terms of wagering with him, get to baseball as well. 4:30, Max Chadwick. He's going to join us, the college football reporter over at Pro Football Focus. Really excited to get Max on, preview the season, get his thoughts on everything in the world of college football. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Matt Infield from Action News 5. He'll join us. We'll talk some Tigers, get to a little bit of Grizzlies. But I know Matt it will be, when he joins us at 5 o'clock, he'll be heading to talk with Ryan Silverfield, as Ryan Silverfield will have a press conference this evening. So we'll get a lot of Tiger talk in with Matt Infield at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Moe's Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure needs your help to clear out the warehouse. All in-stock patio furniture up to 60% off, and 4-piece dining seating sets only $999. Chase Lounges, buy one, get one half off, and right now, all Pollywood furniture, 20 to 30% off. Head out there, get that outdoor dining table, and get a free umbrella with purchase. Don't forget about the special financing. It's available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Be a part of our show. Text and call the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 901-360-8255. A lot of people texting in about this Micah Parsons situation. Continue to text those in. What do you think happens here? Do you think he gets his contract extension? Do you think he gets traded? Also, I'm curious what people thought of the Hall of Fame game last night. How long did you watch of that game last night? But please be a part of the show. Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 901-360-8255. And I should also remind you, this first hour brought to you each and every afternoon by Lexus of Memphis. Brett tells you every single afternoon about the great deals that Lexus of Memphis is offering. Head out there this weekend. It's kind of cool outside. Maybe today's a perfect day. A little overcast, but don't look like any rain in the forecast. It's a little cooler than usual. Go out there and look at the lot, view those beautiful cars that they've got, test drive them, and you could enter the weekend with that perfect brand new vehicle. But we appreciate Lexus of Memphis every single day being a part of our first hour. But let's go ahead and get to top story of the day.
Top story of the day.
Well, we just spent pretty much the first 15, 16 minutes of the show talking about the top story of the day, and it is the developing story that Micah Parsons no longer wants to be a Dallas Cowboy. That's according to him in his notes. Now, the debate will be, is this just kind of a tactic to try to get that extension, or is he serious? Has he reached his boiling point? Again, Jerry Jones gets out there and says that, well, he's got injury concerns, and do we want to pay a bunch of money to a guy that if we know he's probably not going to be healthy? I heard something else that I think was a good point. You look at these edge rushers, it's very physical, it's very demanding on the body. We see a lot of times where these guys are really good for 2, 3, maybe 4 years, but then as they kind of get later in their 20s, it kind of starts to fade. Those injuries are certainly a concern there. Do you really want to give a ton of money, especially when you have the franchise tag available? It feels like all these teams want to use that franchise tag. If you have that available, would you really want to use all of this money, giving a big contract to Micah Parsons? We got another text to the Sissy's Log Cabin text line. Jerry also said he could pay him, but that didn't mean he would play. The last 2 he paid was hurt. That's exactly right. And that kind of goes back to what he said in that thing where, could you say that Jerry Jones has been a little burned? I think the biggest one is definitely Dak Prescott. He goes out there and gives Dak that big contract, and it's been rare to see Dak Prescott go long periods of time being healthy. It's been very injury riddled, so it's something to keep an eye on with Dallas. Obviously, a team that gets all the talk. It's been ever since I got here this afternoon, whether it's been NFL Live or just an ESPN show, they've been talking wall to wall Micah Parsons. So it is a big story. But this comes right after last night. Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver in the same division with the Commanders, requested a trade from the Commanders. So now you've got 2 pretty big players in the same division requesting trades. We'll see what comes of it. But coming out of last night's Hall of Fame game, football is here. We'll have a bunch of preseason games next week. But there are definitely still big storylines kind of off the field to keep an eye on, even though we feel very close to the football season.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, we'll keep it with the NFL, and we'll go to the Hall of Fame game. Really fun last night. Just watching it, just listening to it, just knowing that the real football, the regular season, is right around the corner. But you look at those 2 teams, we knew what we were getting. It was going to be a lot of backups. It was going to be guys that were really trying to make a roster, especially in that second half. You saw a lot of guys that are trying to make a roster, but it was fun. The Trey Lance experience was in full effect last night, and he looked really good, maybe the best he's looked in a long time, getting that kind of extended run. I remember last preseason when he was with the Cowboys, he didn't look like that. I was watching. I was excited about Trey Lance being a Cowboy. He didn't look like that. Looked good. Ended up getting the win for the Chargers. Played the entire first half, a little bit into the second half, and I thought looked really, really good. It was a lot of guys from that played college ball in this era. You had Hendon Hooker, who came in the second half for the Detroit Lions. Jabari Small, he got a handful of carries, actually a good amount of carries for Detroit last night. Isaac Tesla had a few catches from Arkansas, so it was fun watching last night to really get the season started with the Hall of Fame game, and now we'll go to the preseason games next week, and a lot of eyes will be on those preseason games. We'll see what some of those quarterbacks from schools in this area, including Seth Hennigan, end up doing. But if I can I do 2 not top stories today? Is that fair?
Your rules.
All right, I make the rules today, so I'm gonna go with a second not top story of the day, and it really would have been my top story of the day if it wasn't for this Micah Parsons story coming out. It's going to be something that we talk about at 3:45 when we talk some Tiger football. But last night, Nevada transfer wide receiver Cortez Braham committed to the Memphis Tigers. This is a guy that played at Nevada last season, had 724 receiving yards on 56 catches, also added 4 touchdowns. This is a guy that, is a veteran. He is a senior. He got an extra year from the NCAA. But you look at what he's done, it hadn't been a lot before last season. He was at West Virginia the 2 years prior and didn't get much of an opportunity to really show what he had. In 2022, had 14 receptions for 147 yards for West Virginia. 2023, only 3 receptions for 17 yards. And now you look at what he did last year at Nevada, that big uptick in production. You would love to see that translate to this season with the Memphis Tigers. And I think, said this earlier with Elisha filling in for Dave, even though Ryan Silverfield doesn't want to name a starting quarterback yet, all the signs are pointing to Brendan Lewis being the starting quarterback after he went to American Media Days last week. And now, look, let's all be honest. Brendan Lewis only has 1 year of eligibility left. We know that. Cortez Braham only has 1 year of eligibility left. They played together last year. I would just take a guess and say that Cortez Braham probably had good intel that his buddy, his former teammate at Nevada, would be starting for the Tigers, and that he would also be getting a lot of playing time for the Tigers when he decided to commit. So I know nothing is official yet. Soon we'll get some word, I'm sure, now that we're in August, counting down the weeks to the start of football season. But I do think a big addition. Talk about it a little bit more at 3:45 with some of this, not lack of production, because I do think it's some fun names. I think it's some fun names in this wide receiver room, but you just haven't seen them go out there and produce. I think they're going to be fun. I think it's going to be a good wide receiver room, but this certainly adds that veteran presence, a guy that has done it at the FBS level. Some breaking news coming out. I'm not adding a third, not top story of the day, but
is this a third?
No. It's not, I'm not adding a third, but this is some news coming out. It looks like Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, both of their lockers, have been cleared out of the Guardians clubhouse. We know that both those guys were involved in the gambling accusations, the gambling investigation that Major League Baseball was doing. And so it looks like both their lockers are cleared, and that means I guess they will not be returning after they were placed on leave. It does not look like they'll be returning to the Guardians this season. Maybe we get, I know there was a report out there earlier this week, Hector Gomez reporting that there could be more names coming out in this investigation. But with that, it looks like maybe we could see some news coming out soon of a decision from Major League Baseball on those two guys in particular. Well, let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we got to talk some wagering. Alan Bell from Driving the Line, he joins us next.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Greg Gaston with Sports 56 Radio. I'm sure you've heard the name NST Law. They've been a trusted name in Memphis for as long as I can remember. And to back that claim up, my family has hired NST Law both times we've been involved in an accident. NST has been standing up for folks in Memphis and the Mid-South community for 3.5 decades. They've won billions for people. That's with a B. And that's real numbers for real families like mine. If you've been hurt and it wasn't your fault, NST knows exactly how to fight back. If the insurance company offers you a check fast, hold up. Call NST first and make sure it's fair. You may not need a lawyer today, but if someone you love gets hurt in Memphis, tell them to call NST. They've helped generations of families in Memphis, and they'll treat yours like their own. You know the jingle. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000. That's 683-7000. Or visit nstlaw.com. Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
I thought I'd book a trip to Italy to celebrate retiring.
We didn't speak Italian.
We didn't then. We do now. Because of Babbel.
Babbel is the refreshingly easy-to-use app for learning a new language. Babbel uses immersive lessons to teach you vocabulary and grammar in a way that sticks. Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
It's time to get loud, y'all. The FedEx St. Jude Championship kicks off August 6th through 10th. Don't miss your chance to watch the competition unfold as the PGA Tour's top 70 players take on TPC Southwind. Experience unmatched energy, fun fan activities at every corner, delicious Memphis bites, and much more. Get your front row seat to all the drama. Tickets are on sale now at FedExChampionship.com. Kids 15 and under get in free with a ticketed adult.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting to build right on schedule out here on 240 getting on to 385. Bill Morris Parkway's actually been moving fairly decent on out towards the Collierville area. It's a little bit crowded. Certain sections of the Midtown area, 240 south at South Parkway. Still moving at the moment. I-40 over here at Warford, Hollywood as you work your way I-40 over to Wright Station. Hey, want a greener, more weed-free lawn? Call Brandon Holly at Lawn Solutions here in Memphis. That number is 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Connor with you this afternoon, and joining us now, we got to talk some wagering. Ton to get to. Alan Bell from Driving the Line. He joins us now. Alan, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get to. I didn't know we would be talking Dallas Cowboys and potentially trading Micah Parsons, but I guess that's where we're at. What did you make of Micah Parsons putting out his statement on social media that he no longer wants to be a Cowboy and has requested a trade from Dallas? I've seen a lot of people saying, well, I think this could just be, him, taking those drastic measures to try to get this this contract extension that I'll believe it when he starts missing actual regular season games. But what do you make of this whole situation with Micah Parsons and then obviously him requesting a trade today?
Yeah, man. First off, I appreciate having me back, buddy.
Absolutely.
And look, it wouldn't be the NFL preseason without Dallas Cowboys news, right?
That's right.
I think the main part of this is seeing Terry McLaurin in Washington do the exact same thing, right? I think this is players using leverage to get a deal. And unfortunately, in all of life, this is kind of how asking for a promotion or a raise is. People aren't just going to give you money. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to force the issue a little bit, sometimes more harsher than others, so to say. It does concern me a little bit, hear that phrase, like, I don't want to be a Dallas Cowboy. I didn't hear Terry McLaurin say anything like that. He just requested a trade, kind of just, the stamp a letter. This is the step in the process. But that's an extra step. Saying that one, I'm fascinated. I mean, what do you think, man? You follow this team very intently.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, like you said, I actually said this morning, I was filling in on another show this morning, and it was kind of when that Diana Rossini report came out and was like, things are getting a little testy in Dallas between the two. And I said, until I see Micah Parsons say, I want to trade, I want out of Dallas, I'm not super worried. And then, less than 3 hours later, he puts it out that he wants to trade. I think I'm kind of like you, I'm still sitting in the boat of, I think this is still just a leverage chip. I think he's just kind of taking those drastic measures to try to get that extension. But you're right. I mean, putting out there, I didn't like how Jerry Jones was talking about my injuries when I'm laying it on the line for my team and this fan base. And, I wanted to be here, kind of using that past tense and then saying, but I don't want to be here anymore. The way that it was kind of written out, the way he was talking. And we know Micah Parsons is, I heard a lot of people this afternoon kind of describing him as, a very savvy businessman. He knows how to play the game. But on the flip side of that, we know that he's a guy that, he runs, I don't want to say he's very emotional, but he kind of wears his emotions on his sleeve to an extent. He can be very fiery. He can be,
he runs hot.
He runs hot. And so I would not be surprised at all if Micah Parsons felt a little disrespected by the Cowboys organization and just said, I just want to flat out be in a different place. So I'm trying to hold out hope, but it's not the way I wanted to spend my Friday afternoon. I'll be completely honest with you, Alan.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. And this is, this comes at a good time on a Friday too, to where if you're Jerry or Steven Jones, you call up his reps or him, however, and you say, hey, take the weekend off, relax.
Yep.
Like, let's calm down. Like, we want you here, you want to be here, and we want to pay you. Like, let's figure it out. Like that. That's how these things go. Because you know what? Why all this is happening is because in life, deadlines spur action. They just do, right? You wait till the last second to do it, but then you don't have any choice. You got to go left or right,
That's right.
So you had to force it. He did. They'll figure it out. He's too good to let them to let him go.
That's the thing. I mean, he is an elite player, and you just don't let that guy walk out, even if you could get a good trade return. Hall of Fame game last night, it was fun, but at the end of the day, we kind of know what we're getting with that game. Have you started looking at futures for the NFL in particular? Anything that kind of jumps out to you as we get preseason started?
Yeah, a little bit, right? Like, I try not to go too heavy on futures because you lock your money in, for 5 or 6 months, right? But if you've got spots that you like, take them. And we had talked about this on the show 3 weeks ago or so about the Chargers, that this team is better than people are going to think.
Yeah.
And they are real. Like, if Herbert is healthy and the team's healthy, like, this is a real threat to win that division and go as far as they want. Now, take what you will from the game. It's backups, right? I think another thing, Chris Collinsworth brought it up best, and he said this early, and the Lions, they looked terrible on offense, man. And, talking about the new offense coordinator, Collinsworth, I thought, is the most accurate statement of the night. He said, look, Ben Johnson is the last name that Lions team, players, fans, anybody wants to hear, because if we're talking about Ben Johnson, that means that things ain't good here. And, man, that offense, it didn't look good last night, because here's the problem for that new offensive coordinator. If one quarterback has a bad night, that's on the quarterback. If all the quarterbacks have a bad night, that's on you.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a great point by him. I mentioned that earlier of, he's exactly right, because, it's going to look a lot different. I think you kind of heard both those guys, and it was great hearing that A team from NBC last night. But you kind of heard them of, trying to talk about, what is this Detroit team going to look like, and kind of saying, well, this is what they did last year, but it's going to be a new offensive coordinator in there. It's going to look different. And so kind of what to expect with this Detroit team. So I thought that was a lot of fun. We also had the Major League Baseball trade deadline yesterday. What was your kind of biggest takeaway from what we saw yesterday?
Yeah, a couple things, right? So, obviously, the Padres, my goodness, they went for it. The Mets went for it. The Phillies went for it. That NL East race back and forth yesterday was fun to watch between those two. The Yankees, they go get some help. The Dodgers, like all the teams that we thought went and got it. But now what happens to the A's? What happens to the Diamondbacks, man? Like, you just gutted the A's, young star pitchers. And then the Diamondbacks, I mean, they've got talent there still, don't get me wrong, but they shipped a lot of it. Minnesota as well.
Oh, man.
But, here's the thing, man. Like, that also, it opens a door and an opportunity for somebody else, and you never know. Sometimes positive. Look, Ohio State won a national championship when they were at their lowest, losing to Michigan, and then it became their highest, right?
Sure.
You just never know, man. But it was wild. That's the one thing we do know for sure.
Yeah, no, it was a crazy day. I think something like 36 trades just yesterday alone. It was like it was a record of trades in a day at the deadline. So it was a lot of fun. But you mentioned the Padres in there. It feels like the Padres like to take big swings. We know they took the big swing with Soto. Didn't really develop into anything. Do you think what they did at this deadline is good enough to make that run and maybe make a World Series appearance or even win one?
Heck yeah, I do. Wow. Now, am I calling it?
No.
Not. But they're good enough to do it, and that's what is great about the second half of the season here in Major League Baseball, because I'm telling you, if anybody listening, if you haven't watched any baseball, I get it. I totally understand. It's going to be a great second half, right? Like, these teams that we're talking about, they're all in that running, because you go into it thinking, oh, it's the Dodgers, it's the Yankees, they're going to buy it. No. everybody's competing, man. Like, this is going to be a really fun race, both National League and American League. It's wide open, and a lot of teams just amped it up, spending money and spending draft picks. It's awesome, man. I can't wait.
I was reading a winners and losers of the trade deadline. I think it was ESPN that had it up on their website, and it listed both the Cubs and the Brewers as losers. And it was a little different on each of them, but kind of was saying, for the Cubs, they went out there and made a couple moves, but you look at this Cubs team, biggest issue is pitching, and they weren't very aggressive going out there and getting pitching. For the Brewers, they kind of said, well, we could look back at this and say, well, they got really healthy around the deadline, and their additions were just, getting guys back and getting healthy, but kind of both of them putting them as losers because of their lack of aggression at the deadline. Were you surprised of what those two teams did at the deadline?
No, I'm not, because you know what? They're. I think that there's an intelligent move to think to yourself and say, you know what? I don't fully know what I have. Like if you're looking at it from a team president or GM position, saying, I don't fully know what I have, but I know what I have is really good, and I believe in it, and I don't want to rock the boat. Like we followed the process, and we don't need to be, just trying to make a move, right? Like let's follow the plan, and I believe in it for both of those teams because they have really good depth and really they can get better in spots, but these two pretty good teams. So no, man, like I wouldn't call them losers, and it also gives confidence to the players in that clubhouse because the team's telling them, no, we didn't trade any of you. We believe in you. We invest in you. Let's go, baby. Yeah, like that could be a positive thing, man, for real.
Yeah, it definitely could. I'm curious about what you like tonight in Major League Baseball, but before we get to that, tomorrow night, going to be fun, a baseball game at Bristol Motor Speedway between the Reds and the Braves. How does one handicap a baseball game played in a NASCAR venue?
That's a great question because I have no idea.
You're going to find out tomorrow, I guess.
Yep, absolutely. And I love that the books are kind of telling you the same thing. They're like, look, we're going to set a number. We all understand. You don't really know, and guess what? We don't either. But let's have some fun, and it's going to be a good game, man. Like I can't wait to see it. The Braves, who knows what they're going to do? We saw last night. It was 11-11, and still going. Yeah, man. Absolutely nuts. So, yeah, it's going to be fun, dude.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, especially like with a sport like baseball where the environment makes a big difference in terms of how the game's playing. It is kind of funny to kind of see Major League Baseball going to a lot of these new venues and kind of seeing how the sports books react to it and then what actually happens. I remember a couple years ago when they went down to, I think it was like Mexico City, and they played a game down there, and the elevation was crazy, and I think the humidity was up, and so everyone was like, yeah, the ball's going to be flying out of here, and they set the total like 15.5, and it got to like 21 or something. I mean, it was insane. We just completely blew past it, and then they were doing the game like a day later, 2 days later, and you saw that total up at like 16 or 17. I mean, they adjusted those books extremely after that first game. But looking at tonight, after all of these trades, it's going to be some new guys in the lineups. I don't think we're going to see any new pitchers tonight making debuts for teams. But what do you like in terms of Major League Baseball tonight?
Yeah, I got 3 games for you right here, man. The first off, and weather is going to play a factor in this because you got a lot of places where you feel how cool it is out there. We lost a lot of humidity, a lot of home run weather out there. Be careful tonight and this weekend. It's not going to be flying off the bat as it has when it was just, so unbearably hot. But the 3 places where it still will be is in Florida and California. I like the Yankees and the Marlins over 8. You got like 80% humidity. It's 96 down there. It's sweltering. And you got 2 teams that feel good about themselves at a low number. Go take that one. I like the Dodgers and the Rays over 9. And I also like the Cardinals and the Padres over 7.5. Padres feeling good, just loaded up. And the Cardinals, you know what? Ownership saying, we believe in you. Let's see what you got here. Yeah, man. I'm excited. Those 3 I like.
Yeah, I do hate as a Cardinal fan that the Cardinals get to be the first team that this new look Padres team gets to see. So we'll see how this weekend plays out for them. But Alan, always a blast having you on and talking some bets. And we're getting closer and closer. August is officially here. We're playing college football at the end of the season, or at the end of this month. So I know we're all excited about that. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll do it again next Friday.
Look forward to it, my man. Thanks so much for having me. Have a great weekend. Take
You
care.
too. Thanks, Alan. Alan Bell from Driving the Line. He joins us every Friday. Make sure you go out there and see everything they're doing at Driving the Line. Really cool stuff. It's a daily show. You can find it on YouTube. They'll give you all the picks. They'll tell you why they're picking it. He always says they like to educate, inform, and entertain. And so that's what they do at Driving the Line. Make sure you go and check them out. We need to get to another break. When we come back, mentioned it earlier, Tigers got a wide receiver commit out of the transfer portal last night from Nevada. Talk a little bit about that. Jonah Dillon also wrote a story about these receivers, so we'll talk about what this receiver room looks like with a new addition. And we got to talk to those running backs. Sutton Smith is back out there practicing. Looks like he is getting ready for a big season. We'll talk about all of that next on Sports Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in a 32-ounce jar. It's so good to baste or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef, and she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or a steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meats. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper was more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with a perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at the Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it.
A beloved family affair and still going strong since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time, free gun rentals with purchase of ammo, and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Cordova, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-size courts, 3 high school-size courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis, now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos and enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Connor with you this afternoon. We got to talk some Tiger football. Last night, Cortez Braham, a wide receiver that played at Nevada last season, committed to the Memphis Tigers. It was about a week ago, I would say, that we heard that Braham was interested in joining the Tigers. It was reported that he had limited it down to 3 schools that he was going to decide between, and so we were waiting to see when he made that decision. It was very quickly we learned that it was going to be pretty soon for him to make that decision. I know it was Memphis, it was UCLA, and I don't remember the third school that was involved in that was a possibility for him. Here it is. It was I think it was Virginia was the third school that was in the mix. I'm having trouble finding exactly who those 3 teams were. But
it was Virginia.
Was it Virginia? Okay, so Virginia was the other school. So Memphis, UCLA, and Virginia were the 3 teams that he was down to. Ultimately decided to join the Tigers, and he will be eligible for this upcoming season to play with his former quarterback at Nevada, Brendan Lewis. So definitely excited to see that, because I did not know this, and I read it yesterday in the story from Jonah Dillon. I talked about that story, but obviously with the addition of Braham, I think it's even more highlights this. But here is part of that story from Jonah Dillon and this wide receiver room. Silverfield went through Memphis's receiver room, where the current player who had the most FBS production in 2024 is returner Marcelo Bussey. He had only 10 catches and is coming off a torn ACL last year. So you look at just last season, the most production was 10 receptions from Marcelo Bussey. He did mention that there's some other guys on this team. You look at Jakari Caldwell, who had 530 receiving yards last season, but he was at FCS, so he's making the jump up from FCS to FBS. You got Jaden Thompson, who's transferring in from Louisville. He's also coming off a torn ACL. And then the guy that I'm the most excited about in terms of newcomers is C.J. Smith, who transferred in from Purdue. He started his career at Gonzaga, I believe was a 4-star prospect out of high school, and guy is a speedster. I mean, if you were at the spring game, you saw it, but this guy's going to go deep, and I'm sure Brendan Lewis, whoever's the quarterback back there, they're going to enjoy connecting with him on those deep balls, because it really is impressive how fast he is. I know, I'm sure most people that are listening right now probably have not played the new college football video game, but like if it tells you anything, his speed rating on that game is like a 97. So I mean, he's a fast guy, and I'm excited to see him. So there has been production on this roster, but it's just nothing really proven at the FBS level. But now you add Cortez Braham, and I think that will certainly change. You also got a guy like Brady Cluse that came on late last season and showed some nice stuff. So I think you should be excited about this receiver room. It's certainly not like the running back room, where I think everyone is super stoked to see what this running back room looks like with everybody getting healthy, including Sutton Smith, who I've heard has looked really good the first couple days of camp. It's kind of hard. Media hadn't been able to see much, but I have heard that he's looked good in practice. He's a full go in terms of participating at practice. So definitely excited about what this offense could be for the Tigers. I've heard good things. I know Ryan Silverfield has raved about the offensive line. They went out there, replaced a lot of guys on the offensive line through the transfer portal. Feels like, at least with the offense, it feels like really the entire team, the 2 loaded positions this year will be running back and offensive line. So, we always talk about, you want a good run game, you load up that offensive line. It starts there in the trenches. So I am definitely looking forward to later this month when we will see those. But what are your thoughts of this receivers room for the Tigers?
I like it. I think there's going to be a lot of competition, and I think that this addition adds to the competition. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of young guys that I like in the wide receiver room that I think could get some playing time, and I just like that we have a lot of options this year. Yeah. Like last year was great. We had our 3 guys. This year we have a bunch of different options I think could shine at some point in the season.
Yeah, man, I think definitely the difference, and I think Ryan Silverfield highlighted this when he was talking to reporters a couple days ago. Last year, the year before, it feels like the last couple of years, it feels like we were all going into the season knowing who the receivers were going to be. We knew those starters, and you felt pretty good that those are going to be the guys. Unless injuries or something like that, know these 3 names, know these 4 names, and those are going to be the guys that are producing. And so this year's, the complete opposite of that. You really don't know. We don't know who those starters are going to be. We don't know who that go-to receiver is going to be. And so I think there's also an element in there that makes it fun, of kind of that unknown of who's going to step up and produce. So we'll kind of get a better idea as we get more into camp and these guys go through practice. I mentioned it earlier. We're going to talk to start our third and final hour with Matt Infield from Action News 5. He will be on his way when he joins us to Tiger practice to talk with Ryan Silverfield. He's going to be talking to the media this evening, I believe around 5:30 or so. So maybe we get an update and see a little bit more or hear a little bit more about some of these guys and what this offense is looking like. Another little note there from Memphis football. Greg Duosier has been named to the Horning Award watch list, the most versatile player in college football. This is a watch list that Sutton Smith was on last year going into the season. So now Greg Duosier, which I love that that Sutton Smith was on it last year. He gets injured. He misses basically the entire season. And Greg Duosier comes on the scene, and now he's on this list. So you pretty much got 2 guys on this roster that have been put on the watch list for the most versatile players in college football. So I think those 2 guys will be, it'll be a dynamic backfield to say the least. Well, we need to wrap up this first hour and get to a break. And when we return, we're going to talk a little more college football. We're going to talk some wagering, a little NFL, a little baseball, a little bit of everything. Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider and CBS Sports, he joins us next.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time, free gun rentals with purchase of ammo, and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
When life crashes into you, literally, NST Law doesn't just show up with a briefcase. They show up with heart. They sit with families after devastating wrecks, look them in the eye, and say, "We've got you." No scripts, no legal jargon, just real people fighting for real justice. If someone turned your life upside down, NST helps you stand back up. They've been doing this for over 35 years and have won billions for their clients. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or go to nstlaw.com.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We're looking at an accident right now. It's in the Midtown area. It's 40 eastbound, just past Danny Thomas. There's a couple of cars up against a wall here. It looks like a pretty violent crash. It's 40 eastbound, just past Danny Thomas as you head towards Midtown. Starting to build already on 240, getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Stop by and see them this weekend at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden, weekdays from 11 to 1. Joining the guys every Friday is college football historian and Vegas legend Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insiders, CBS Sports, and his own website, bamsports.net. With over 30 years on Memphis radio, with handicapping and sports talk, here's Bruce Marshall with Bryant and Brett.
Bruce Marshall joins us now from Vegas Insider and CBS Sports to talk some wagering. Bruce, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get to this afternoon, but I do want to start with the breaking news from Dallas. Micah Parsons, he posted it on social media. He has requested a trade from the Cowboys. He says he wants out of Dallas. Now, a lot of people going back and forth of, does he really mean this, or is he just using this to get that contract extension? What do you make of this news out of Dallas?
Latest, probably more the latter, Bryant. But in the bigger picture, this is the latest Jerry Jones dragging his feet on these negotiations, and he's done this before with others in recent years, and he lets the market kind of get set elsewhere, and it's ended up costing him. And by going slow on the Parsons deal, it's just sort of up the ante a bit. And I don't know why Jones was doing that, because he didn't used to be that way. But I'd lay this at the foot of Jones. This stuff should have been done long ago. As far as Parsons is concerned, I think he's getting to the point where this should have been done. It's just frustrating, and it's turning into a game of chicken. And the older Jones gets, he seems to be more apt to get involved in these sort of stare-downs like this.
Yeah.
Not good for Dallas. Not good for Dallas at all.
No, it definitely isn't, and I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it has been weird, and it feels like we're seeing this trend with Jerry Jones, where guys are up for contract, and he kind of likes to play this waiting game and really try to stretch it out. And it feels like Mike Parsons. It's been weird how it's gone with Micah Parsons, because it's been a lot of. What did he say a week or so ago, where he said, well, we can give him money, we can pay him, but that doesn't mean he's going to be out there. He would missed 6 games, even though he missed 4. But Jerry Jones out there saying he missed a bunch of games last year and didn't play for us. So it's just been really weird to see how this has played out, and how some of these other guys in their contract extensions have played out. Speaking of the NFL, we had the Hall of Fame game last night. Preseason gets started officially next week with Week 1. Have you started looking at any NFL totals? Is there anything that's caught in your eye out of the NFL?
Not yet. I'll get into that more into August. I mean, we got a few preseason weeks coming up. Preseason, just as a reminder, a lot of guys ignore preseason, and they ignore it because it really doesn't relate to the teams a lot in regular season, and I get that, but there are preseason trends. It's you just got to handicap it like it's a different animal, like it's its own thing. Some teams have taken it, some coaches take it more seriously than others. It is hard, though, and you sort of have to know the rosters better and who's going to be playing the quarterback or the backups and all that. But like last night, that wasn't at all Detroit last night. I mean, that was a reserve side out there. So much of the Chargers too. Some coaches, John Harbaugh's been a great preseason coach in the past, great point spread coach. Didn't quite do it as much last year, but generally, Baltimore's been a good bet in preseason. So we'll get more into that next week. But I've been more looking at the colleges the last few weeks.
Yeah. Well, what's jumped out to you at college? I know we've gotten a couple of totals from you. Anything that you've seen over the last couple of days or the last week?
Well, one thing that came up, and I don't normally get involved in Heisman odds and things like that, but one flew across my radar screen, and I thought, this just doesn't look right. And not that I'm forecasting Blake Horvath from Navy to win the Heisman, but, I mean, he is priced, I saw the other day at FanDuel, at 400 to 1. That's insane for a guy where there is a scenario that exists where he could actually be in the mix. Last year, toward midseason, Horvath was getting peripheral mention. He was really, really doing great with that readjusted Navy offense with some wing T that Drew Cronick brought up from Mercer for Coach Newberry. And had Navy, had they had the Heisman voting a couple of weeks later, after the Army game and after the Oklahoma Bowl game, in which Horvath scored a 95-yard run, he'd have been in the top 10. Bryson Daly, I point out, Army's quarterback, finished 6th last year. Look at Navy's schedule this year. It is very fair. They don't run. They could be undefeated into Notre Dame mid-November, and I dare say they've got a good chance as anybody to be the Group of 5 rep. In that case, Horvath could be in the race. And if you're sitting there, you tell me that guy's at 400 to 1, that's insane. So I'm not sure who, there's no value on Arch Manning, I think, and some of these others, but have a little fun with it. Put a little bit there on Blake Horvath and see where it goes.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I know we talked with you about DJ Lagway and what we learned at SEC Media Days, where he didn't participate much throughout the offseason with Florida with some injuries. Now it looks like he's going to be very limited as camp has gotten started down in Florida in terms of participating at practice. What do you make of this? As it's starting to get a little prolonged. You missed a lot of the offseason. Now it's starting to affect into camp. How worried are you with DJ Lagway and what that could mean for Florida?
Yeah, I think they're just being overly cautious there with him in camp, and the thought is he's still going to be ready when the regular season starts. I would get a little bit worried if that was still the case into 4 weeks from now. Sure. But we still got a ways to go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, it feels
so anyway, that's so I think still, not yet worried if we see this at the last week of August, but I think this is just Billy Napier being cautious.
Yeah, I'm with you. Looking at a team, I know a team that feels like it's getting a lot of hype this offseason is Texas Tech. They've committed all this money to the transfer portal, to bringing guys in, and it looks like this Big 12 this year is going to be wide open. What do you think of this conference, and what do you think about Texas Tech in particular?
They have become the team du jour, and I'm not buying it. That was not a great team last year. And I know they're talking about the portal lads they've got in, and they've made some adjustments with that, and the quarterback is there from last year. But they were outclassed by Arkansas in the Liberty Bowl last year, so they got a long way to go. And I am not a big fan of Joey McGuire, and especially the apparatus there at Texas Tech. Big booster, like Cody Campbell is the big booster there. Big oil guy is a Texas Tech guy, played there, is the guy on the Board of Regents. He's the one who pulls all the strings. He's the one who got in Matt Wells' face a few years ago during the season, and Wells took offense at that, and next thing you know, Wells is out. McGuire answers to Campbell, and he does pretty much what Campbell tells him to do. I don't like that at all. At Texas Tech, it is still Lubbock. I don't care what they say about the place. That is way a forlorn outpost. I think there's a limit on how good they can get. I am not sure McGuire is a big-time coach. They could be good, but people talking about them being a potential I suppose the Big 12 is wide open enough. They did beat Arizona State early last year when ASU was at Lubbock. So I think they'll be good, but the stuff about them being great, I don't buy it because there's a long way to go. And I just, don't like the whole dynamic about the way Texas Tech works these days.
Yeah. We had the press conference, speaking of the Big 12, we had the press conference earlier this week with Deion Sanders and his medical team. There were some reports, or I guess some rumors that came out before that press conference that were saying that, maybe this would be a press conference announcing that he was stepping down because of health reasons, but it was the exact opposite. He was talking about his bladder being removed because of some cancer they found there, and that since that procedure, there has not been any signs of cancer. He will be back with Colorado, but we know on the field, which all of that is obviously good news, and was really good to hear that, but we know on the field it's going to look a little different for Colorado this year. Both Deion's sons no longer on the team. The Heisman Trophy winner will not be there. Their total is sitting at 5.5 right now. So it's basically, do you think Colorado will make a bowl game or not? How do you view this Colorado team?
I kind of do, and I'm really sympathetic to Deion. I mean, he's had some serious medical stuff here the last couple of years, and so I'd watch that, and just hope that that's the worst of it behind him. But you got to be careful with that stuff. So, and I heard some people say, "Oh, Deion, this is him. He's just going to walk away. He knows his team's not going to be good." No. This was all health related. So let's just hope he's fine.
Yeah.
What we're hearing is that Deion's going to go more to a ground and pound this year. I don't know if that's a diversionary thing or not. He's got Caden Salter, a really good dual-threat quarterback from Liberty. And by the way, the Liberty people I talked to, I talked to a couple of guys at the ACC Media Day who are up in Virginia, and they cover Liberty too, and they thought Salter was just a little bit too much looking toward the portal last year. He got a nice payday to go to Colorado. But he is versatile, and he can do some things. And Deion, what he did, we got to give him credit for this. He set the template out there. He created this template for a massive overhaul via the portal. And now you see a lot of schools doing that, bringing in 50, 60 guys. Belichick's supposedly bringing in 70 guys this year. I mean, this is all first done by Deion 2 years ago, and he sort of had to do it because he inherited a real mess from Carl Durrell. And the interim the year before that, after Durrell got moved out in the middle of the year. But he set sort of a template there, and he turned it around pretty quick. So I don't discount Deion, and Salter is a pretty well-regarded quarterback. So I don't think they're going to fall too far. I think they probably clear 5.5.
Yeah. One more future I want to ask about in college football, and then I want to get to some baseball. I'm seeing Florida State. Feels like since ACC Media Days, there is a little more excitement about this Florida State team. A 2-win season last year. Feels like a lot of people think that they can turn it around and be a lot more competitive this season. Right now, their win total is sitting at 6.5. I'm looking at one sports book here that has the over 6.5, so 7 wins at -150. So it seems like a lot of people on the Florida State over 6.5. Do you buy that? Do you think that Florida State, with what they've done, bringing in transfers, new quarterback from Boston College, new offensive coordinator with Gus Malzahn, that they can turn it around on the field and get to 7 or more wins?
I don't think so. That total was up at 7.5 before, and they sort of bet that thing down. Yeah. And I wrote that up as an under, but at that point the price was about 190, 195, and I said this is more just a caution. Don't go over. I don't usually like recommending, minus 195s on season wins, but just be careful going over with these guys. No, I think this is a total prove-it year for Mike Norvell. Florida State is what we last saw them. And that was last year. And it was a bad team. I mean, the offense was one of the worst in the country. I know they had quarterback issues, and I know they brought Gus Malzahn in. But Gus sort of beat the forming posse at Orlando out of UCF. He may have gotten fired there last year. So this was a landing spot that I think Jimmy Sexton found for him. So it works out pretty good for him, and Norvell was certainly looking to change the mix after DJU failed last year and the other quarterbacks. Plus, Norvell's been living heavy in the portal the last couple of years, and last year a lot of especially the offensive line just didn't work. It was a bad team. So that's what they are right now. They aren't the team 2 years ago. That was last year's, the last we saw him. Castellanos, maybe. He was hurt last year, though. He likes to run around a lot. Are they going to keep him upright for 12 games? What is Norvell going to do if Castellanos goes down? I think would be better than DJU was while DJU was in there last year, but a lot of ifs. I'm not buying on Florida State. I think there's other spots. I think Louisville's a lot better team. We know about Clemson, Louisville, Georgia Tech, and some others are above Florida State. So I am sort of bearish on Florida State at 6.5 even.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. We're talking to Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider and CBS Sports. He joins us every Friday to talk some wagering. Major League Baseball trade deadline took place yesterday. It was a very eventful day, a ton of trades yesterday and even the night before leading up to deadline day. What was your biggest takeaway from the trade deadline?
Relief pitchers, and it's sort of, this is I see the latest indicator that analytics has really taken over the game. And I think we're going to start to see that more in contracts coming up. I mean, starting pitchers didn't seem to be that much in demand. I mean, you're talking about these guys going 5 innings once every 5 games or so. And it looks like, if you've got a good reliever, I mean, this is sort of the way that the game is adjusted now. And a guy who can go 1 inning every 5 days or 4 out of 5 days seems to be a little bit more in demand. Most all the big deals involved relief pitchers, and this is just and I think it's sort of a analytics-related development in baseball. Good or bad, I don't know, but I mean that's just what it is. Having said that, I mean some teams went like the Mets, just trying to load up, in that bullpen as much as they can. Seeing, the way some of the teams that won the World Series in recent years, just used the bullpen to get there. Duran, good pickup there for the Phillies, and they've got him under control for a couple of years. The Yankees think they added their bullpen depth. Bednar coming in from Pittsburgh, who's been having a pretty good year. You just go down the list, Mason Miller. I mean, San Diego's bullpen was deep, and they get they get the A's closer, and now they're even deeper. So that's what got me. I thought Seattle did a pretty good job there. Obviously, getting the 2 guys from Arizona. One of them came back to Seattle, Suarez, after he left last year. Houston, interesting, the Correa signing there, though I think now Jeremy Pena is supposed to come back really soon, maybe even this weekend, and that might be more of a plus for Houston. Seattle, we mentioned Seattle, San Diego, of course, made good deals. I'm a little surprised the Dodgers didn't do a little bit more because that pitching staff they've got pretty rickety. I mean, I'm not sure how durable, Yoshinobu and Kershaw and Shohei and Glasnow and Snell. They think they'll all be healthy soon, but keeping them healthy through into October, question. And they let Dustin May go to Boston, and they could have used a guy like him to fill in. So I think that's a little gamble by the Dodgers. I don't think they were as aggressive as a lot of people thought they'd be.
Yeah, that's a good point. Speaking of guys teams that maybe weren't as aggressive, I was reading ESPN put together their winners and losers for the deadline. They had both the Cubs and the Brewers as losers and kind of, said, hey, Cubs did, a couple things. Brewers kind of mostly sat still, but it was more of that, would have liked to see them be more aggressive. Do you agree with that? Do you think that those 2 teams could have been a little more aggressive at the deadline?
Well, maybe the Cubs could have been. Milwaukee, remember, they just got Woodruff back, and the rookie from the All-Star game, Mizrachi's come in there, and so you got 2 arms in the rotation who just showed up. So I think those sort of take the place of making deadline trade moves. And if a team is rolling as good as Milwaukee, why disrupt things too much? I think that if they kind of like what they've got. I was a little more surprised. I mean, the Yankees, for example, made a lot of moves, but I'm not sure any of those moves, maybe Bednar does, but I mean, move the needle too much. A lot of names, but I'm not sure, impact players. So sometimes you don't have to make moves a lot, and they could just disrupt their chemistry, and I think Milwaukee fits in that category.
Yeah, definitely could. What do you like tonight in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, I might give the Mets a look with Peterson. This is mostly against the Giants, who had a horrific homestand. Peterson just beat the Giants last week in San Francisco when the Mets swept. The Mets then got swept at San Diego, but they had a 7-game win streak before that, and the Giants ended up getting swept by the Pirates. The offense is dead. Giants have the worst batting average against lefties in MLB, only at .215, and the offense has died here. Peterson's a lefty. This is really asking a lot of Robbie Ray tonight. So Mets could even think of that on the run line, but that's one favorite I'd look at. Run line maybe with the Brewers, Quintana in Washington, with Parker still there. Washington a little bit they move Soroka out, but it doesn't look like they're going to make any rally. Milwaukee's been going there very well. And maybe an under out in San Diego, Padres Pivetta against the Cardinals and Liberatore. The St. Louis has been blanked in 9 of its last 30 games. Think about that.
Wow.
This offense has completely stopped. Pavetta's numbers have been spectacular lately. 7.5 on the total. I don't think they get there tonight. I think it stays under.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Bruce, before we let you go, tell us where we can find more of you.
Yeah, thanks. Check me out online stuff, CBSSportsline.com. Also the Discord channel there. Got some write-ups, but picks there, as well as always at VegasInsider.com and the new place for picks with a different twist. We call it winnersandwhiners.com and picksandparlays.com.
Bruce, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll do it again next Friday.
Okay, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Bruce Marshall joining us to talk a ton. NFL, college football, baseball. We talk it all with Bruce Marshall, even giving us a couple of picks. I thought the last two win totals, college football-wise, that I asked him were interesting. Colorado, you're basically just betting on will they make a bowl game or not, and then with Florida State, you're betting for them, do they win 7 games? A really good point that he made of that was at 7.5 and has moved down to 6.5, and now over 6.5 is minus 150 for Florida State. The under is plus 125. 2 wins last year overall, 1-7 in the ACC. How are we feeling about Florida State?
I don't know. It's hard with the transfer portal.
No, it's really good. It's really
2 years ago, undefeated until Georgia, and then last year 2-10.
Yeah.
So things can change every year completely. 180.
That is the thing, because I'm not a huge futures guy. I don't bet a lot of futures, and it's mainly because of what Alan Bell said. You bet the money, and then it's kind of locked up for 5-6 months. You got to let the whole season play out. Now, I know people that view it kind of the flip side of that. I have a buddy who loves making future bets in every sport, and his logic is, well, yeah, it's a future bet, but every single game they play, you basically have a bet on them to win that game. So you are going to be, if you need kind of that fix of, well, I don't want to watch I'm not going to watch Florida State every single Saturday just because I'm not a Florida State fan. But it kind of gives you that almost, a lot of people will bet on Florida State. I'll bet on this game so that I can have some action on it when I watch it. His logic is, well, if I bet on a future, well, then I'm going to be invested in every single game because I need them to win games. If I'm betting over, I need them to lose games if I'm betting under. So it's almost like you have a bet on every single game that they play. But that's another point of it. Now with the transfer portal and how these teams are kind of changing every single year, you really don't know what to expect with them. And so, you bet on a future, kind of blindly betting with some of these teams that, really kind of change their entire roster from year to year.
Personally, I would probably go under with that one. I have them probably right around 7, exactly 7. I don't see them getting many more wins than that.
Yeah, I'd have to look at their schedule. I haven't really looked at it very closely, but I'd have to look and see how that schedule lines up and what it looks like. The other one, Colorado, you're really just betting on them if they're going to be bowl eligible or not. Over 5.5 is minus 120. Under 5.5 is plus 100. I don't mind the over 5.5. I think.
Yeah, not at all.
I think with what they've got in there, I don't think it's crazy to think that this team could be a bowl team.
I like Salter a lot.
Yeah, and especially if Bruce kind of mentioned it, because I think we saw Salter 2 years ago have just an incredible year for Liberty, and that's when they were in the New Year's Six bowl game against Oregon, and then last year kind of didn't play as great, struggled throughout the season for Liberty. But what Bruce was kind of saying, kind of felt like might have had 1 foot out the door, looking at the transfer portal, ready to get up out of there and get to a different team. And so that certainly affect how you play for the team you're currently playing for.
Looking at Florida State's schedule, I still would have them exactly at 7 wins.
Read it for me. What does it look like?
We open up with Alabama,
Okay.
then East Texas A&M, Kent State.
Right, so 1-1.
1-1.
I don't know anything.
Are you going to give away your? Or do you pick for?
No, we won't pick Florida State. So then they see we won't pick.
So then Kent State,
I don't know much about Kent State. They were really bad last year. They were one of the worst teams in football last year. So I'll go another win, so 2-1.
Virginia at Virginia.
I really don't know much about Virginia this year.
I'd give them that one.
I'll give them a win. Okay, so
it really depends. It really depends. Last year was...
I don't know anything about it. Virginia was terrible last year, weren't they?
Yeah. Miami.
It's a loss. So 3-2.
Pitt.
Toss up.
At Stanford. That's tough. Cross country.
Yeah, Stanford's terrible.
Oh, I mean, you can't.
Terrible.
New ACC.
4-2 and a toss up.
Wake Forest.
5-2 and a toss up.
Clemson.
It's a loss.
Yep.
5-3.
Virginia Tech.
You were high on Virginia Tech last year.
I was, and they kept Kyron Drones.
So it's at Virginia Tech?
No.
Toss up.
Toss
up.
up.
So 5-3 and a toss up.
No, give them the win. If it's a toss up, just give them the win.
So 6-3 in the toss up.
And then NC State.
At NC State?
Yes.
I'll say it's a loss.
And at Florida.
It's a loss. So I mean, yeah, it's right there.
6 or 7.
6 or 7. Okay. Maybe stay away from that. But hey, plus 125, like that's the under. I don't hate it.
I wouldn't go over 7 at all.
No.
I don't think at all.
No, especially when Bruce was saying that it was at over 7.5. Like that's to win 8 games.
Yeah,
no
I would
chance.
not. No.
No chance. But I don't want to bet against our guy Mike Norvell.
Yeah, I love watching Florida State.
Can't bet against Mike Norvell. But hey, if you don't mind betting against Mike Norvell, maybe the under wouldn't be that bad of a look. Well, we're going to get to a break here in a second, but before we do that, let me remind you this weekend, a perfect time to head down to Olive Branch and check out Frontier Western Store. Family owned and operated since 1967, Frontier Western is your one-stop shop for the biggest brands in Western wear. Check out Frontier's world-famous boot showroom. Whether it's work boots or dress boots, Frontier has you covered for the entire family with plenty of in-stock proven classics like Ariat, Dan Post, and Durango. And that's just to name a few. They've got so many different types of boots, different brands of boots. They've got whatever you could be looking for. But Frontier Western's also your one-stop shop for Carhartt in the Mid-South, but they've got so many more brands when it comes to shirts, shorts, jeans, outerwear, whatever you're looking for. But if you're in the market for a new pair of jeans, well, Frontier Western has you covered. They've got all the brands from Ariat all the way down to Wrangler, and you'll love how easy it is to find the perfect size and style for you. Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know you'll be getting the best deals. Head down to 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch and check out the entire selection. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Head down to Olive Branch and check out Frontier Western Store. Let's get to another break. When we come back, we're going to talk a lot of college football. We might ask our next guest what he thinks of the over-under for Florida State. Max Chadwick, who covers college football for Pro Football Focus, he joins us next. We'll talk all about the upcoming season, what he thinks on some of the top teams in the country, what he thinks about the Memphis Tigers. We'll do all that next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Newsflash! Family Leisure needs your help. Family Leisure has a warehouse full of inventory, and they need it cleaned out. Do your part to make room for new items, and you get great deals on almost everything. Listen up. All in-stock patio furniture, it's up to 80% off. You can get a 4-piece deep seating set for under $1,000. Chaise lounges. You buy one and you're going to need another, and that other one will be one half off. All Pollywood furniture, it's now 20 to 30% off. You buy any dining table, you're going to get an umbrella absolutely free, and they're not cheap. Now, is financing available? You better believe it. Special financing is a go. To sum it all up, Family Leisure has got to clear out its warehouse inventory, which means you're going to rack up the savings. Help Family Leisure clear out the warehouse. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together to clean out the warehouse.
At
At Target, back-to-school-a-days are here. What is back-to-school-a-days, you ask? We're talking 7 days of deals on looks and styles the kids will love, at prices you'll love even more. Because back-to-school at Target means getting all of the above. Through August 2nd, save 25% on select kids' clothes, with additional savings to round out their looks, including uniforms, leggings, polos, and activewear. Plus, their new favorite backpacks are 30% off. Happy back-to-school-a-days now through August 2nd, only at Target. Terms and conditions apply.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
This traffic report brought to you by Salt Sports Bar and Bistro, 3101 South Mendenhall Road, where great food meets the big game.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Really starting to build now on all the major outbound routes. We had that earlier crash, 40 eastbound, just past Danny Thomas. I had traffic a little bit slow earlier as traffic gets heavier on 240 east from Mill Branch all the way out to 385 as you get on to Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. Hey, want a greener, more weed-free lawn? Then call Brandon Holly at Lawn Solutions here in Memphis. That number's 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Connor with you this afternoon, and we got to talk some college football. And joining us now, Max Chadwick, the college football reporter over at Pro Football Focus. He joins us now to talk the upcoming season. Max, thanks so much for joining us. Love getting you on to talk some college football. And we're finally to August. That means college football at the end of this month. It's right around the corner. Let's talk about some of your expectations for the season. Who are you really high on going into 2025?
Yeah, there's a few schools I think you could say are up there for being in the inner circle for national title contenders right now. You got to start off with Clemson. I think they're right now the best team in college football. Their roster is loaded top to bottom. I love what Texas has this year, too, with Arch Manning and a young offense, and then I think one of the best defenses in college football. Penn State, a lot like Clemson, really doesn't have a true weakness anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I think Alabama is in for a major, major bounce-back year, too. I think Alabama right now might have the best defense in college football, the best offensive line in college football, and a rising star wide receiver in Ryan Williams, too. So I think those are the four I would point to right now as being probably the favorites right now.
You mentioned Alabama, and it feels like a big season for Kalen DeBoer. He comes in, kind of the impossible job taking over for Nick Saban. The season very up and down. It ends with a loss against Michigan in the bowl game. You're very high on them. What is your feeling kind of about how that fan base is feeling right now, and how patient will they be with Kalen DeBoer if it's maybe another season like it was last year?
I listen, if it's another one like last year, I think they'll run out of patience very quickly. I think, that's a program that is used to competing at the top of the sport and missing 2 straight college football playoffs when there are a 12-team playoff now, not a 4-team playoff. Yeah. That's practically unacceptable for Alabama, right? So I think this is a massive, massive year for Kalen DeBoer. But like I said, I really think Alabama is one of the 4 or 5 best teams in the country right now. They should absolutely get back to the playoff next year.
You mentioned Penn State, a team that it feels like we're always talking about them, and it always feels like, last year, a really good team. James Franklin has now been there for a while. You've seen some other teams in the Big Ten kind of get that, check it off with that national championship. Do you think that, you said you're high on them. Do you think this could be the year James Franklin can get that national championship?
I think so. I think right now Penn State is the best team in the Big Ten, I would say. And like I said before, I think they have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense in the country. Not a lot of weaknesses anywhere on that roster, I would say, right now. So I like what they did in the portal, too, addressing wide receiver, which has really been the one position that's held them back in recent years. They have a top 5 quarterback in the country in Drew Aller. They have, I think, right now the best coordinator pairing in the country with Andy Kolnicki on offense and Jim Knowles now on defense, too, coming over from Ohio State. So, yeah, I think it's all set up for Penn State to have their best shot at winning a national title, which would be the first one in like 40 years for that program.
Yeah, that would be huge. Let's go over to the SEC. Brett and I have been talking for a while about the quarterbacks in this conference. It's a lot of guys throughout this conference that a little unproven. They haven't gotten that opportunity to be the team starters. How do you view the quarterback play in this conference? And you mentioned Arch Manning over at Texas. Who are you high on in the SEC?
Yeah, obviously Garrett Nussmeier, I think, is the most proven guy out of all of them right now. So I would say he's the best quarterback in the conference going into next year. I would put Arch Manning pretty close after that, though. I think he will be an upgrade over Quinn Ewers. I think Ewers kind of held that team back at a lot of times last year. And I have very high expectations for Arch Manning next year. So I like him a lot. I also like Diego Pavia a lot, too. I think Diego Pavia is getting underrated right now. It talks about the quarterbacks in the SEC. Taylon Green, another underrated quarterback from Arkansas, is a really, really good player, too. He's got all the tools in the world. So I like him. And then obviously, Lenore Sellers, too, is probably the toolsiest quarterback in college football. Just got the kind of like a little Anthony Richardson-like, where he's just kind of put it all together, I think, in South Carolina right now. But there's no denying that his physical tools are out of this world. He's got to get a little better with decision-making and accuracy right now. But I think he is probably the highest upside quarterback in college football.
Yeah. You mentioned Diego Pavia and this Vanderbilt team. It felt like the entire country fell in love with him as a quarterback last season. He leads Vanderbilt to a bowl game. They now have the opportunity to go to back-to-back bowl games for the first time since 2012, 2013. But last year it was kind of a surprise. I think Vanderbilt kind of snuck up on a handful of teams, especially in the SEC. 7-6 last year. Do you think they can do that again? I've heard some people saying, it's not going to be a surprise this year. Everyone's going to know what to expect, especially with Diego Pavia, and we're going to see them, kind of drop back down again. Do you think we could be seeing back-to-back bowl seasons for Vanderbilt?
I think it's possible. I think Vanderbilt right now, you have a top 10 quarterback in the country, in my opinion, in Diego Pavia. You have the best tight end in college football, in my opinion, in Eli Stowers, too. So, yeah, it's always going to be a hard schedule, obviously, but I think bowl season is possible for Vanderbilt right now. And listen, 2 straight bowl years for Vanderbilt is excellent for our program. So I think it's certainly possible next year.
Yeah, it would be huge if they could go to back-to-back bowl games. You look at those 2 teams that came into the SEC last year with Texas and Oklahoma. We already talked a little bit about Texas, but on the flip side of that, Oklahoma didn't feel like they were ready for SEC play last year, struggled 6-7 on the year. It feels like a big season for Brent Venables. You look at the kind of the hot seat list that are coming out around the country. It feels like he's on most, if not all of them. Do you see Oklahoma bouncing back? They did a lot in the transfer portal, bringing guys in. A lot of people excited about John Mateer, some of these other guys they added. What do you expect to see from Oklahoma this year?
I think more of the same on defense. We're still going to be a really good defense in college football. I think the run game will be electric next year. John Mateer is one of the best runners in the country at quarterback. Jay Knott is one of the best running backs in the country, too. I think he's the best running back in the SEC right now. The problem is, though, John Mateer as a passer was kind of limited, I thought, last year at Washington State, and now it's kind of playing a Mountain West schedule, and now you're playing the SEC. So I'm a little worried about that. I'm still a little worried about that offensive line and that receiving core outside of Deion Burks, too. So I think it's been more of the same for Oklahoma this year. I still think it'd be probably a 6-6 or 7-5 team in 2025.
And I would imagine that would not be good enough for Brent Venables. Do you think if they finish as kind of a 6-6 team at the end of the regular season, do you think that means a change at head coach?
Could. I know he signed a big extension a couple years ago, so that might keep him from getting fired. Sure. Don't know if they want to pay that kind of buyout. Of course, money's no object there at Oklahoma in that kind of program. But I wonder if that would be a factor in that. So if it's a disaster and they don't make a bowl game at all, then they probably are looking for a new coach. But if he has a 7-5 year, they might be like, listen, we just gave him an extension. Let's not pay that massive buyout and then hire a new coach, not to pay him too. Let's just wait it out maybe one more year after. I think that new extension he got a couple years ago, it kind of has them in a bind right now.
Talking to Max Chadwick, he joins us, the college football reporter over at Pro Football Focus. With the season right around the corner, make sure you head to Pro Football Focus. I think one of the best tools you can have, one of the best resources you can have throughout the season with both college and the NFL. So make sure you take advantage of what they've got over there at Pro Football Focus. In our last segment, Max, we were talking with another guest, talking some futures in college football, and two in particular that jumped out to me. I want your thoughts, not necessarily on these as bets, but just these two teams in particular. The first one, Colorado. We saw the press conference with Deion Sanders earlier this week and his medical team, where there were some rumors before that press conference that it might be a press conference announcing he was stepping down from the program, taking a break from coaching, but it was the opposite. He will be back on the sideline with Colorado this season. But on the field, we know they're losing a lot from last season. What do you expect from Colorado? I think their win total is at 5.5, so really you're just betting on will they go to a bowl game or not. How do you view this kind of new-look Colorado team?
I think they will make a bowl game. I think there's still a lot of talent on that defense in the secondary and that pass rush too. So I think that they'll make a bowl game through that. And then obviously the big question is who's playing quarterback this year, right? I think Caden Salter is a very intriguing transfer coming in from Liberty, but Deion Sanders brought both Caden Salter and Julian Lewis, the true freshman, to Big 12 media days. I think it's really telling because you never really see true freshmen go to media days, really. So, I think that's the question mark right now. They should have a better offensive line too. Jordan Steen is a star left tackle. I have question marks with that passing game right now, but I think there'll be enough to make a bowl game in 2025.
Yeah. The other team we talked about was Florida State. After the 2-win season last year, only one conference win in the ACC, but they've done a lot in the transfer portal. They bring in a new quarterback in Thomas Castellanos. They bring in Gus Malzahn as the offensive coordinator. Mike Norvell really needs a bounce-back season. That's a guy we're very familiar with here in Memphis. Do you think Thomas Castellanos, he's certainly talking a lot, especially about that first game against Alabama. Do you think they've done enough? Do you think Thomas Castellanos can come in and start turning things around, especially with that offense?
I don't know. I think, people kind of forget Tommy Castellanos was benched last year at Boston College, right? So I think that's something to keep an eye on there. I don't know how much of an upgrade he actually will be over DJ Uiagalelei. In fact, DJ had a higher PFF grade by 5 points over Tommy Castellanos. Now, I do think Castellanos is a better fit for Gus Malzahn than what they would have had otherwise. So I think that could be a fun fit, but I have question marks right now for Florida State. I still think there'll be enough to make a bowl game. They won't be as bad as 2-10 last year, but I don't know if it'll be better than 6-6 or 7-5. Honestly, I think that's probably the expectation I would have for Florida State right now. I think their win total is set at 7.5 right now. I would not be taking the over on that 7.5. I think this is more of a team that just makes a bowl game rather than one that wins 8 or 9 games next year.
Last thing for you, Max, the Memphis Tigers. We know it's going to look different for them, but how do you view Ryan Silverfield's team here in Memphis? We know Brendan Lewis will likely be the starting quarterback for them. How do you view them, especially with now all these Group of 5 teams trying to make that college football playoff?
I think they have a great shot at making the playoffs this year. I think Brendan Lewis, I was actually going through it a couple days ago trying to make a team of all the best group of 5 players. Mm-hmm. I think Brendan Lewis is the best group of 5 quarterback we have right now. Oh, wow. I think he's a star. He had an excellent underrated year last year at Nevada. I have high expectations for him coming over to Memphis right now. Like I said, I think he's the best quarterback in the entire group of 5 right now. So I like him a lot, and I think Memphis, they're always a well-coached team with always some other players that always step up every year, and they definitely have a great shot to win the American next year, especially with Brendan Lewis coming into that program.
Yeah, well, I know we're all definitely excited for the season to get started. Just counting down the days now that we're in August. Max, thanks so much for joining us. Again, love getting you on and talking some college football, and we'll definitely have to do this again soon.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Max. Max Chadwick, he joins us from Pro Football Focus. He's the college football reporter over there. Go make sure you give him a follow at CFB Max Chadwick on X. And again, go and check out what they've got over at Pro Football Focus. A lot of really good resources to use during the season, but they've also got a bunch of articles, a bunch of stories, a bunch of write-ups over there when it comes to both college football and the NFL. So they've got you covered with all things. It is a must-subscribe for me every single football season. But I can get to a break here in a second. But before we do that, let me remind you, the weekend is here. And whether you're going out there, you want to watch some baseball or just a night out with the friends, I've got the spot for you. It's Bell Tavern, located at 117 Barbaro Alley. Bell Tavern is the perfect bar for a night out with friends, or if you just want to go and relax somewhere. It's not one of those loud, rowdy, obnoxious sports bars. Enjoy a night at Bell Tavern with one of their great cocktails in their quiet, dimly lit bar. And it's not just the drinks. Bell Tavern has the best bar food in Memphis. Pair one of their gourmet burgers with the coldest beer in the city for a perfect night out. For more information about our friends over at Bell Tavern, give them a call, 901-249-6580. That's 901-249-6580, or go online to belltavern.com. How about Max Chadwick? High praise about Brendan Lewis and what he, calling him one of the best quarterback in Group of 5.
Great.
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to get you excited. So I know we're going to talk more Tigers to start our third and final hour. Matt Infield going to join us at 5 o'clock from Action News 5. We'll talk a ton of Tigers. We'll get a little bit into the Grizzlies as well. But right now, we need to get to another break. And when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra cart fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. Miramichi is now open on Mondays, and you'll find the lowest rate is on Thursday. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time, free gun rentals with purchase of ammo, and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, Connor, I have two big numbers today. Both of them are Major League Baseball big numbers, and they kind of tie in together a little bit. My first big number is the number 36. Yesterday on trade deadline day, we had 36 total trades across Major League Baseball. That is the most in history. Definitely a big and busy trade deadline. But also, my other big number has to do with the St. Louis Cardinals in particular. We saw them make a couple moves. We were waiting to see if they would, we talked about it a little bit when that deadline came, of if they would maybe make that last-second move with another guy. They did trade Phil Maton. That was yesterday, close to the deadline. But we were waiting to see would they trade any of those position players. They did not. But here's my second big number. It is the number 6. Somebody posted this last night, and I saw it. The Cardinals' 2022 wild card roster. On that wild card roster from 2022, so less than 3 years ago, only 6 players are still on the team today from that roster. Everyone else has been moved and or retired. Those 6 players that are still on the roster, 2 pitchers, Miles Mikolas and Andre Plante, third baseman Nolan Arenado, infielder Brendan Donovan, infielder Nolan Gorman, and outfielder Lars Nootbaar. Those are the only 6 players that are still on the team today from that 2022 wild card team. Now, Packy Naughton was on that team in 2022. He is still in the organization, but he suffered a season-ending injury back in March, and so he hasn't played at all, and I don't know if he would have been with the Redbirds or the Cardinals, but he is still in the organization, just not with the team right now because of injuries. It's kind of crazy. You look back at that wild card team, a lot of guys that have been moved and are at a lot of guys still playing. They're just at different places. I was surprised yesterday the amount of moves that the Twins made, and it was highlighted last night. I saw a tweet, Bob Nightingale. This could also be a third big number. I don't want to continue to add big numbers, just like what I did during Top and Not Top Story.
Yeah, 3 top and not.
You're only supposed to have 1 for each, and I just kept on adding. So I don't mean to keep on adding here with big number, but maybe I'll just – I hope you didn't. I don't want to step on your toes if you had a big number, but I'll just – this can be your big number. I'll give you.
Yeah, this is my honorary big number.
I can give you this big number. But Bob Nightingale tweeted it out last night that over a 24-hour span from 5 o'clock the previous day to the 5 o'clock deadline, the Twins traded 10 of the 26 players on their 26-man roster. That's insane. And if you go and look at their like Instagram page, just the entire thing is just thank yous and trade announcements for these guys. I mean, it is absurd. And you said, I haven't seen it yet, but the Twins lineup that they're rolling out there tonight is leaves a lot to be desired.
You also saw on Twitter they called up 6 guys. They have a graphic, 6 guys from AAA today.
That's nuts. But I guess if you trade 10 guys, you gotta call guys up. And so probably won't be very fun watching the Minnesota Twins. I want to get to it later, probably at 5:30. I'll just go ahead and mention this now. ESPN, I brought it up with both Alan and Bruce. ESPN did their winners and losers from the trade deadline. Care to guess their biggest? They had a biggest winner, a biggest loser, and then they listed a couple other teams in the winners, a couple other teams in the losers. Would you care to guess the biggest winner of the trade deadline?
I would say the biggest winner is the Mets.
Incorrect. They were listed as winners, but they were not listed as the biggest winner.
Padres?
Listed as a winner, but not as the biggest winner.
I don't know.
Mariners.
Oh, yeah. Well, that kind of gets lost. They did all theirs the night before.
Well, and they got Josh Naylor the week before, so, I mean, it wasn't like a rush at the deadline.
Kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, very easy to forget about it when you have 36 trades just on trade deadline day. But their biggest loser, it said the Minnesota Twins, ... fans. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a brutal one.
They're the biggest losers
brutal
here.
One. I also saw on the TV behind you, it asked how should the fans feel about it. They said fleeced.
Well, honestly, I kind of agree with that. The one that kind of jumped out to me, and I think a lot of people are talking about it today, was and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, the Carlos Correa deal to send him back to Houston. And I think it was ESPN that did their write-up on the trade, and I thought that they wrote it up really well, especially when you see all the other moves that they're making. But because it blew my mind. It was a player-for-player trade. It was just one-for-one trade between the Twins and Astros. They got back a 26-year-old pitching prospect that is in high A, so a guy that's still, a long ways away in his development to getting to Major League Baseball. And also, they're paying like $30 million of the $96 million guaranteed to Carlos Correa over the next 3 years.
That prospect had to be stunned.
Oh, man.
Stunned.
I saw somebody, and this is not very nice, but somebody was like, you're a 26-year-old high A prospect, probably contemplating, am I ever gonna reach Major League Baseball? When do I kind of call it quits? And then you get traded 1-for-1 for Carlos Correa. Like, that's got to be, you're probably stunned, but that's also got to make you feel good. Like, oh yeah, this team values me. I'm going to Minnesota. And now with all the guys Minnesota traded, heck, we could see this guy in Minnesota by the end of the season. I mean, you never really know. But I saw this write-up on ESPN that kind of made it make a little more sense of why this trade works for both teams. It says in one sense, however, the trade makes perfect sense. Correa is being paid a superstar salary, but he's no longer a superstar. Given their self-imposed payroll cap, it might improve the Twins' long-term chances, assuming they can properly reinvest that money into the right players. This trade is mostly about dumping the salary rather than what the Twins got in return. So kind of like, hey, I know we're still going to be on the hook for $30 million, but if we can send the rest of that money somewhere else, we can start kind of retooling this team and start planning for the future. So it definitely makes a little more sense than when you saw it yesterday and you're like, wait a minute, we're going player for player and you're going to pay $30 million of his guaranteed contract. It didn't make much sense. But we're going to talk a little more Major League Baseball, what happened at the deadline, probably at 5:30 during What's Trending. But right now, we got to wrap up this hour, get to a break, and when we return to start the 5 o'clock hour, Matt Infield from Action News 5, he'll join us. We'll talk Tigers, and we'll talk a little Grizzlies with Matt. He joins us next on Sports Time.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Here's what sets NST Law apart. They don't just work in Memphis, they ride for Memphis. From school fundraisers to courtroom battles, they show up where it matters. And when someone in this city gets hurt, NST goes toe-to-toe with insurance giants. No fear, no favors. It's not just the law to them, it's loyalty. And if you ever need backup after a crash, NST's got your back. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or check out nstlaw.com.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Cordova, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-size courts, 3 high school-size courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis, now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis. Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
This traffic report brought to you by Salt Sports Bar and Bistro, 3101 South Mendenhall Road, where great food meets the big game.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. The fire department just got here on the scene of this accident, 55 southbound at 240. They've got it over to the side, but boy, there's a lot of rubbernecking going on here due to this crash. 55 southbound at 240. It was already building on 240 East, just up from there at Mill Branch, all the way out to 385 as you go outbound on Bill Morris Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry, your Diamond Engagement Ring headquarters. Go see David this weekend at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Connor with you this afternoon, and joining us now to talk some Tigers. We'll talk a little Grizzlies as well. Matt Infield from Action News 5 joins us now. Matt, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to talk about with this Tiger football team. Season right around the corner. Feels good to be in August. Means football is here. But last night we learned that the Tigers picked up a commitment from wide receiver transfer Cortez Braham from Nevada. Was at Nevada last year, had close to 800 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns for Nevada last season. Teammates, obviously, with quarterback Brendan Lewis. What do you make of this addition? I want to get a little bit more into the other guys in this receiving room. But this obviously is a huge addition, given that it's a lot of young guys in this room, and now you get a veteran that's been around the game for a couple years.
Yeah, I think above anything, it's just like a proven commodity. And like you pointed out, someone that has at least some degree of chemistry with Brendan Lewis. Because this receiver room right now with, Rock Taylor and Demir Blankowski and Kobe Drake moving on is a lot of unknowns. The running back room is really, really solid. I'm sure we'll hit on that. But the receiver room at the moment, it's a bunch of question marks. And obviously guys are going to step up, and you've got some returning guys. You've got some transfers coming in. But we don't know who any of those guys are going to be. So I think just to get someone in the building who has played a lot of football before, I believe that he won a lawsuit and got a 7th year of eligibility. So it's someone that's no stranger to college football. So to get someone who is a proven producer who has chemistry with the guy who I think should be favored to be the starting quarterback week 1, even if the team is saying that it's an open camp battle, it's big because there could be some of these guys that end up not panning out. So to get someone that you feel good about filling some kind of significant role, I think is important. And then you can let some of the younger guys fight out the pecking order amongst themselves and see who rises to the occasion.
Yeah, I think kind of like what you were saying. I feel like, even though the coaching staff doesn't want to name a starter right now for the quarterback position, I think this just only adds on to kind of more signs pointing to Brendan Lewis being the starting quarterback. You mentioned him getting that 7th year of eligibility. He only has 1 more year of eligibility. Brendan Lewis only has 1 more year of eligibility. You would think that, these two guys that played together, him coming to Memphis, there was probably some conversation there. Hey, let's run it back one more time. Well, I'm going to be the starter. You'll be out there at wide receiver. We'll make plays like we did last year. Obviously, Brendan Lewis going to American Media Days last year, I think, was a pretty good indication, even though Ryan Silverfield downplayed that before and even during American Media Days. But you mentioned, the rest of this receivers room. It's very young, but it feels like they've got some fun players in that room. You've got a guy like C.J. Smith that really shined in the spring game, a guy that started at Georgia and then went up to Purdue, now at Memphis, a guy that's got a ton of speed. You've got, a guy like Jakari Caldwell who had, over 500 yards receiving at the FCS level last year. And then you got a couple guys coming back like Brady Cluse, who really came on the scene late in the season last year. Marcelo Bussey, who's coming off of an injury. I think Ryan Silverfield kind of called it a grab bag the other day of, it's a lot of unknowns, but you've got some fun pieces to work with.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's good that you have a mix of guys coming in via the transfer portal who have a little bit more experience under their belt. And then, I think that, the 2 names that you mentioned there at the end, Brady Cluse is someone that I don't think it's any secret. People around the program are very, very high on him. And I think we all remember his one shining moment from last season, which is kind of the Jordan Jumpman catch on the sideline with the one hand on a throw that was a little bit high from Seth Hennigan. I forgot who they were playing. I think it was maybe Rice. I forgot who it was. But, coming into an extra year for him, a lot of people around the program are very, very high. And then Marcelo Bussey is someone I think Ryan Silverfield mentioned the other day, coming off the injury, but someone that's obviously familiar with the program and the playbook, new quarterback, obviously, any way you slice it. But, I think that there is potential for probably 3 or 4 guys to emerge. And I know that Ryan has also said that there's some interesting names in the tight end room as well. So we'll probably look up in October and say, oh, okay, well, this all shook out the way it was supposed to. But right now, it's a big mystery box, which is kind of fun because with the amount of continuity that the program's had the last couple of years, and especially going into last season. We kind of all knew what roles people were going to fill and who the main producers were going to be. And right now, we don't really have much idea, especially in the receiver room. So it'll be fun to see who kind of separates from the pack and ends up being kind of the wide receiver 1, 2, 3, and beyond.
Yeah. You mentioned the running back room. It feels like if we know anything or feel pretty good about anything with this team of a lot of unknown and a lot of new, it's that running back room is going to be pretty darn good. You got Sutton Smith coming back from injury after missing pretty much all of last season. Greg DeWosier, with what he did last year, he was named to the Horning Award watch list. After Sutton Smith was on that watch list last season, they've added a couple guys, bring back a couple more guys to kind of give that room some depth. It feels like what they've done with the offensive line in the transfer portal, with kind of all the question marks around the receivers, with a new quarterback coming in, it feels like you should be pretty confident in what that run game can do.
Yeah, well, run game and what those guys could do as an extension in the passing game as well. You think about screens and kind of short crossers, just any way to get the ball in those guys' hands because, Sutton Smith, and, we'll see how good he looks early on. Ryan Silverfield said he's full go. He does still have, I'm actually at the practice facility right now and was out shooting practice about an hour and a half ago. I mean, he's still got the brace on his knee. So, he's back, but, we see a lot of times, especially skill position players coming back from torn ACLs. It does take a little while for them to be full go and, something close to, if not better than, the previous version of themselves. So we'll see if that happens earlier in the season, maybe later in the season. I am really excited to see what Greg DeWosier can do in a more expanded role than he had for last year. And to be fair, I mean, he probably would have had a more expanded role last season if he didn't get hurt in the Florida State game himself. Remember, he converted a huge third down late in that game and broke his collarbone and didn't come back until the Tulane game when he delivered, one of the highlights of the year, an ankle breaker that you'll see in Memphis highlight reels for a long, long time to come. So I'm really excited to see what he could do both as a runner and a pass catcher with an expanded role as well as he could stay healthy as well. And it kind of, I think Ryan alluded to it the other day, the guy's going to kind of fill the Brandon Thomas short yardage, goal line touchdown back role is going to be Makari Boniford, who we remember in the Charlotte game last year when the Tigers were really down in that running back room for a little bit. I think Mario Anderson got hurt. DeWosier was hurt. Obviously, Sutton Smith was hurt. Makari Boniford came in for a couple of drives and really held down the fort. I think he scored a touchdown, if I remember correctly, and looked pretty good. And he is a big body guy that can take on a lot of the short yardage brunt work. So, yeah, I think that they have some really explosive, fun names in that running back room with a bruiser to go with it. And if Sutton Smith can get back to form pretty quickly, then they're really cooking with gas in that room.
Yeah, they definitely are. Defensively, we know a couple of guys return, but it's kind of the same. It's replacing a lot, especially if you look at that secondary. It's going to be some new names there. I know William Whitlow was the player to represent that defense at Media Days. What do you expect defensively this season?
To be honest, I could come up and try to say something creative. I have no idea, and that's just the honest truth. Is that like you said, I think they're returning one starter on that side of the ball, and that's William Whitlow Jr. Other than that, it's just going to be literally a wait and see of who steps up. And the one thing that should make you feel good if you're a Tiger fan, that I could say definitively, is that I think we know by now that Jordan Hankins knows what he's doing, and he's going to get these guys coached up, and he's going to coach them hard. And how far that takes them is kind of to be determined. But that, for all the mysteries on offense, I think we feel pretty good about the running back room and the offensive line. Defensively, other than William Whitlow Jr. and maybe a couple other guys here and there, not much of a clue, so we will all find out together.
Yeah, we really will. And I mean, it's kind of the story of this team. It's so much new, and it's kind of, a lot of people are really unsure about what this team will be because of all the new pieces. And so you look at the schedule. I know we didn't have media polls at American Media Days, so we didn't really get to see at least what the media thinks of the Tigers and where they would sit them. How do you view this team in the American? And, if you were voting on a preseason media poll, where would you put them, and kind of what should the expectations be for the Tigers this year?
I think our best gauge of it is kind of sportsbook odds, and even those for something like the American Conference can be, they're informed, but maybe not all the way. I don't know how deep that some of the bookies there and some of the odds makers are diving into American film. I think that Tulane's probably the favorite, and they are the favorite at most of the sports books, and to me that makes sense, especially with them adding Jake Ratzlaff from BYU, who I assume is going to be the starter for them this year. I feel like Memphis is probably in a tier after that with like Navy and maybe UTSA. I think that I would probably I'd vote them third. Let's say third. And that's just kind of a belief in, Lewis has had a bit of an up and down career, but he is clearly very talented and a dual threat guy. And I like a little bit of the infrastructure with the running back room and the offensive line. So it's just a matter of how well does he play, how well does the Tim Cramsey offense suit him, and can the receivers step up? And then, like I said, defensively, we're going to find out. We don't really know on that side of the ball. So I don't know that you could confidently say, like, oh, they're the favorites to win the conference. But I think that it's probably safe to say they're going to be in that mix. I would probably say third right now. I would probably vote Tulane and then Navy ahead of them.
No, I think that's probably what I would do as well. I know we had Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal on earlier this week, and he kind of said, I think when you look at Tulane probably first, and then after that, he was like, I think 2 through 5 or 6 could probably go anywhere with a handful of teams in there. So it looks like it's going to be pretty competitive at the top in the American. We haven't talked with you for a couple of weeks, so I want your thoughts on a couple stories that came out last week. First, the Sam Shoemaker story about Taj Rael and the playbook sending some things to an opposing team, to UTSA, and their quarterback, Owen McCown. Pretty much everyone at American Media Days shot anything down and kind of downplayed the whole thing. What did you make of that story?
We will never know for sure whether Owen McCown actually passed on any of that stuff to the coaching staff. And Jeff Traylor, the UTSA head coach, said that it never was. And like I said, there will probably never be a way to prove whether it was or was not. So we don't know if UTSA were willing co-conspirators or bad actors in that situation. One thing I can definitively say is that Taj Rael is, at the moment, I believe, still on the Purdue football roster, and I don't know how anyone in that locker room can look at him with an ounce of trust. I do not think that he should be allowed to play college football again. I don't know. Again, that's probably I don't know how you govern that, but what he did, even going that far, and keep in mind, this is a guy that was given a second chance by the program for some other stuff that he did anyways, and then wasn't happy about his playing time and then left again. So I would not touch him with a 20-foot stick. I do not know how Barry Odom at Purdue can justify keeping him on the roster now that, because at the very least, he is the one bad actor in the situation without a shadow of a doubt, and there is no denying that. So probably good riddance that he is gone from Memphis football. I bet if Ryan had a do-over, he would probably not take him back after some of the stuff that got him kicked off the team originally. I can't say I wish him. A lot of guys move on from the program, and you wish them success because circumstances didn't work out or they just want a different opportunity or whatnot. I cannot say with a straight face that I wish Taj Rael any sort of success or luck in his football career because I frankly think he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, I think the wildest part of the entire story, we saw the screenshots, we saw all of that, but it was the quote from Purdue when they were asked about it, and they put out a statement and basically said, we think he's being a little bit mischaracterized in all of this, and we really believe in him, and we don't have any issues with him moving forward. And it's like, I don't know how you put that statement out there. I think the best thing to do if you're Purdue at that moment is just say, we're not going to talk about that right now. No comment, I think, would have been the best answer. Because like you said, if we can speculate about everything else. One thing is true. We have evidence, we have DMs that show, at the very least, Taj Rael sent something from a Memphis playbook to an opposing team that was on the schedule. And I'm with you. I just don't know how you could let that guy in your locker room after seeing that. The other big story, Memphis and the Big 12, your initial reactions when you saw those reports, and then how fast it was shot down by the Big 12.
Yeah, I did like a 6-minute segment on my 2-step segment, my Sunday Sportscast about this. Quite simply, I can't wrap my head around why the Big 12 would not take this offer. Memphis has improved its standing academically. They have improved their football stadium, which, as of a couple of years ago, people within the university, Laird Beach specifically, the previous athletic director, said was the biggest hurdle to them jumping into a power conference. I think that even if Tiger football, for example, has maybe not quite delivered on the expectations of the last couple of years, I do not think that they would be absolutely embarrassing in that conference to the point where they don't belong. I think we know the basketball team could certainly compete with really some of the best in that conference. I'm not saying that they would walk into the Big 12 and win it, but we've seen how Penny Hardaway teams play against a team like Houston, and just generally how they rise to the level of competition as it gets steeper and steeper. So, and the Big 12 is not exactly flowing in cash right now, and Memphis came and offered them really a deal that was all risk for the university and no risk for the Big 12, and the Big 12 could have got rid of them in 5 years and taken the money. So I think it's their loss, and I think that the only thing I could point to is they got wrapped up in lazy narratives about the city and its reputation and didn't want anything to do with that, which if that's the case, okay, because the offer from the university to the conference was quite literally a no-risk all-win for the conference and would have brought teams that could compete with teams that are already in the Big 12. So it's their loss, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It didn't make much sense, especially how quick it was shot down. I thought, when you see everything that they were offering, it felt like, let's think on it, let's talk about it, and then, maybe a decision down the road. But I'm glad you brought up your 2 cents. One of my favorite things to watch weekly is your 2 cent segment. You do a phenomenal job with that. Last thing for you, before we let you go, I did want to get a quick Grizzlies question in with you. We learned that the Grizzlies will play 2 games internationally in Germany and then in England against the Orlando Magic. Probably means we won't get a Desmond Bane return game next year, and also means no MLK Day game. Your thoughts on the Grizzlies going international?
Yeah, listen, I understand that the MLK Day game is really important, and I've covered 3 of them now. It's not the first time it's happened. I believe 2017 was the other year where they did not have one. I would imagine they will be right back to it next year and probably for multiple years to come after that. And I think importantly, the Grizzlies are still going to do all of the things surrounding the causes that MLK stood for throughout the week leading up to MLK Day game. And to be honest, I did have the thought as well that, they'll play in London on Sunday the 18th, and I imagine with no game on MLK Day, some of the players might be able to go to like the symposium and some of the other things on the day itself, which would be pretty cool. From a content perspective, I will say I'm very disappointed that we're going to have to wait over a year for the Desmond Bane return game, because that's going to be a big, big deal. I remember when Dylan Brooks came back with the Rockets for the first time after he went there and free agency a couple years ago, and that was a pretty big deal. And Desmond Bane was someone that left here on better terms than Dylan. I think was just generally probably a good bit more popular with the fan base than someone like Dylan Brooks. So whenever that game happens, it's going to be a huge, huge deal. So definitely a little bit disappointed that it's not going to be this year, but I do think the international exposure is good, and obviously with the Wagner brothers playing in Berlin, their home country, Germany, and then going to London and getting to see Ja and Jaren on an international stage and kind of expose them to a broader audience. I do think that part is beneficial, even if there were sacrifices that had to be made for it to happen.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Matt, as always, thanks so much for joining us. And soon we'll be talking to you on Tuesday afternoons, talking some Tigers about 3:30. So really excited about that. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend. Talk to you soon, all right?
Thanks, Matt. Matt Infield from Action News 5 joins us. Talk a lot of Tigers. Did get a little Grizzlies in there at the end, and it'll be fun once we get football back up and going. Matt Infield going to be joining us on Tuesday afternoons. I believe 3:30 is what we're going to do. Definitely got to hammer out the details before we make it official, but we will definitely have Matt Infield on weekly to talk Tigers, just like we did last year. We'll have him on from the start of the football season until the basketball season is over, so definitely love having Matt on. But we're going to get to a break here in a second. Before we do that, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor. It's Jaguar Bluff City. Got to get out there. this weekend and check out Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. They've been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team's ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out those 2025 models like the Range Rover Sport, the Range Rover Velar, and the Defender. Test drive the 2025 Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to JaguarBluffCity.com and head out there. Test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
A little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The good news is that this Memphis summer heat is supposed to break in October. The better news is that Bell Tavern, Memphis's perfect downtown neighborhood bar, is always nice and cool, and the beer at Bell Tavern is always ice cold. It's cool inside, but the staff and your fellow Bell Tavern visitors are just about the warmest bunch of folks you're ever going to meet. You don't have to live downtown to enjoy Bell Tavern. Everyone is welcome, as long as they act like grown-ups. That's the secret to Bell Tavern. Everyone there is expected to be friendly and adult. That's how you become a great neighborhood bar.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Fiveash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
I thought I'd book a trip to Italy to celebrate retiring.
We didn't speak Italian.
We didn't then. We do now. Because of Babbel.
Babbel is the refreshingly easy-to-use app for learning a new language. Babbel uses immersive lessons to teach you vocabulary and grammar in a way that sticks. Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
This traffic report is brought to you by Millington Weight Loss. For more information, call 901-436-0272.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's a little bit busy through the Midtown area. We've definitely seen it worse before. On 240 South at South Parkway, it's heavier than it was 15-20 minutes ago. On 240 as you get on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Watching it build now on 40 eastbound, pretty much on schedule over here at Sycamore View Road all the way out past Germantown Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry is your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Stop by and see David this weekend at Weimer's Jewelry. They're located on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Here comes the Hero Man. Says he's the people fan. Here comes the Hero Man.
We're back in Sports Time as we got a little more than 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending. Handful of things that are trending. Two local basketball stories that are trending that I want to get to. The first one involves the Memphis Tigers. The second one involves the Memphis Grizzlies. Let's start with the Tigers because Memphis added their final non-conference game to the 2025-26 season. Now, if you listened yesterday to the segment with Greg Gaston, you would have heard us say that Memphis needs to add 2 more games, and we've said that a couple times over the last week or two. I believe the place that I was looking at to get the count did not include one of the non-conference games. I think it was the Southern Illinois game that was not included. And so, when I was just looking through and counting them and not looking at them individually, only counted 11. There were 12 there. So now this is the final game added to the non-conference schedule, making it 13 games. And that final non-conference game will be Alabama State that will play. It's not announced yet when they will play, but these two teams it will be. I thought this said the last time they played. Yeah, forgive me. They will play on December 22nd at FedEx Forum. It was listed on the Hornets official website. So that means that every non-conference game has been announced for the Tigers. They have not put out their official graphic or put the official non-conference schedule on their website, but it is full, and it looks like it will start with their first home game will be against San Francisco on November 8th. That is also expected to be the regular season opener on November 8th. So it looks like, I don't have the calendar in front of me, but I believe the first day of the season will be the 3rd. So that would mean, if that's the start of the regular season, that means that it's going to be a little bit of time from the opening day of college basketball until the Tigers start. Let's see. November 3rd, the first day of the basketball season. And it looks like, if this is right, the first regular season game would be on the 8th, which would be that Saturday. So they wouldn't play any weekday game that week. They would just wait until Saturday.
That's brutal.
Is it?
5 days?
I mean, I guess if you're a fan watching,
yeah,
then yeah, that's brutal.
Starting late.
Yeah, it is starting late. We're gonna be itching for some Tiger basketball come November. But so now we know for a fact what this schedule will look like. Home game San Francisco on November 8th, UNLV on November 16th, New Orleans, that game has not been announced, Southern Illinois on November 26th, Baylor on December 6th, Vanderbilt on December 17th, and Alabama State on December 22nd. Now, that New Orleans game hasn't been announced yet, so that could be a season opener, but this is a story from Jason Munns. It says that Penny Hardaway's team has not announced its full non-conference schedule, although the Tigers' home game against San Francisco on November 8th is expected to be the regular season opener. So, looks like it will be that, at least according to Jason Munns, will be that November 8th. Still waiting on a date for New Orleans. Away games, Ole Miss yet to be announced, Louisville on December 13th, Mississippi State on December 20th, and Utah State on February 14th. And the neutral site games, they'll play Purdue on November 20th. Then they will play either Texas Tech or Wake Forest on November 21st as part of the Baha Mar Hoops Challenge in the Bahamas. So will be fun to get Alabama State on the schedule. Obviously, Tony Madlock, the head coach at Alabama State, and they're coming off an NCAA tournament appearance. Really fun seeing what they were able to do last year, getting out of the first four and making the official field, which was really cool. But they'll look a little different. TJ Madlock, Tony Madlock's son, he is graduated and is no longer with the team. Amar Knox, who was had the game-winning shot in the first four games in the tournament, he is transferred to Eastern Kentucky, so he is no longer there. So it'll be a new-look team for Alabama State, but now we do know what the non-conference will look like for the Tigers. On the other side of that, Grizzlies news. Mark Stein, who covers the NBA, you can go and follow him on Twitter at the Stein Line. He puts out a newsletter ever so often on what is this, Substack? Is that what they call it? Substack is where they have where you can go like follow people and see their stuff. You don't know.
I don't. I have no idea.
Substack. We'll just say I don't know. I mean, good Lord. So he put this out there. It is not his, but it is Iztok Franco's top centers in the West ranking. Now, I want you to guess, of all the centers in the Western Conference, where does the Grizzlies center Zach Edey rank?
I would say like 17, 18.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Where do they have them?
16.
16.
So you were right on the money.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a couple of guys that are behind Zach Edey, and then I'll give you everybody in front of Zach Edey. And you can tell me if you agree or if you disagree with this ranking. How about we start at just 20, and we'll work our way up. 20, Kevon Looney. 19, Jonas Valanciunas. 18, Clint Capella. 17, Steven Adams. But it says besides Steven Adams, if not for injury and playing time concerns, I'd have Adams ranked much higher. 16, Zach Edey. Now getting into the top 15, Mark Williams. Would you have Mark Williams above Zach Edey?
I think a healthy Mark Williams, yes.
Okay. 14, Brooke Lopez. 13, you just stop me if you hear a player that you think Zach Edey's ahead of.
Will do.
Okay. So 14, Brooke Lopez. 13, Daniel Gafford. 12, Donovan Clingan. Donovan Clingan.
I mean, I don't. That's interesting.
Donovan Clingan at 12 and Zach Edey at 16. Just saying. So Donovan Clingan at 12, Naz Reid at 11, Walker Kessler at 10, Isaiah Hartenstein at 9, Derek Lively at 8, DeAndre Ayton at 7.
Ayton slid up a little bit with the
DeAndre
Lakers signing.
Yeah, it feels like
that was a slide
you're
up.
with the Lakers now.
Yeah.
Sabonis at 6, Rudy Gobert at 5, Alperen Şengün at 4, Zubac at 3, Wembanyama 2, and Jokic at 1.
The only person I mind, Ayton, I mind his spot.
Sure, like we could argue about a lot of these guys. In their
but
exact spots.
Clingan's, I think 12's a little high.
I thought Clingan would be a lot closer.
I don't know if Edey's above him, but I'd say Edey and Clingan should be pretty close.
So there's no write-up for Zach Edey. He was listed in the rest of the pack category, but they do have write-ups for all of the top 15. And where is Donovan Clingan? Here's what the write-up says for Donovan Clingan. At 21, another young big man prospect in the conference. With just one NBA season under his belt, he's even less proven than Kessler. But if you value potential, he may have a higher defensive ceiling. The Blazers drafting another big, the Chinese playmaker center Yang Hansen, makes Clingan's role and future a little more complicated. So, doesn't really tell you why he has him at
So just purely off potential.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just taking what he's saying in his little write-up for anything. Let's see what he says about, who do we have the issue with?
Ayton at 9.
Yeah, here he is. Ayton at 7.
Oh, 7.
Ayton at 7. So he puts out his stats, last season stats, 14.4 points, 10.2 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 1 block, 0.8 steals, and 30.2 minutes of playing time. And you have an issue with a guy that averaged a double-double being at number 7? Let me give you his career stats before you respond. 16.4 points, 10.5 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 1 block, 0.7 steals, and 30.8 minutes. This guy is averaging a double-double his entire career, and you have a problem with him being number 7.
I do.
I think those stats are a little hollow.
Yeah. Situation matters.
Quick scout on DeAndre Ayton. After the top 6, there's a clear gap, and this is where the rankings get tricky. I placed Ayton here because his talent is on a similar level to someone like Zubac, who ranks much higher. If the former number 1 pick ever lives up to that potential, he could enter the Zubac and Şengün conversation. There aren't many bigs who have averaged a double-double, at least 14 points and 10 rebounds in each of their first 7 seasons like Ayton has. I'm going to stop him right there. That's the whole write-up, so I'm not really stopping him. It seems like all of his rankings are based on potential.
Well, I mean, if he's going into the season, maybe he's saying he likes the fit with the Lakers.
But he didn't say that.
Yeah, he didn't say that.
He said if he ever lives up to his potential as the number 1 pick. Has nothing to. It says nothing about
the number 1 pick in 2018.
Yeah,
let me remind you.
If he lives up to his potential as a Laker, if he lives up to his potential coming off a good season with Portland, as the number 1 pick, if he ever lives up to his potential, he could be really good, and he's averaging a double-double because he's big. He's playing on terrible teams. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
I would agree if a number 1 pick plays up to his potential.
Sure. I mean, why not rank him number 1?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I have no problems with this list. I just think DeAndre Ayton's a little high. But we'll see. I mean, maybe he proved us wrong. This is really the first opportunity he's had. Now, he was on the Suns team that got all the way to the NBA Finals. So he has some experience, but, after that, it wasn't really much. He goes up to Portland, and, it certainly wasn't anything. And now he has a real opportunity with the Lakers to really be a marquee piece for them after they really needed a center last year. I wanted to get your thoughts. We talked a lot about the Micah Parsons situation earlier, obviously breaking news from the NFL this afternoon. But last night we got news, and we really kind of ran out of time. We didn't have much time. Last night it broke really at the tail end of our show. But the Terry McLaurin situation in Washington, it's kind of been almost like the same thing with Micah Parsons. They've been trying to work out a contract. He didn't show up for a couple things with Washington, and now last night requested a trade. I liked what Allen said earlier, where he kind of pointed out with Terry McLaurin, with Myles Garrett, they just kind of said, I want to trade, and left it at that, whereas Micah Parsons is saying, like, I don't want to be a Dallas Cowboy anymore. I want to leave. I don't feel like I'm valued here. It was a little more intense for Micah Parsons, but Terry McLaurin, do we get this worked out in Washington, or are we looking for a new playmaker for Jaden Daniels?
I think he gets traded.
Really?
Yeah, I do. And that's a big hit to the Commanders, but another team, this is a great chance to pick up someone right before the season.
Do you have any teams in mind?
I don't.
I thought that you were building up to, like, here's a team that could really go out there and make a splash by getting them. And you get this guy on the Steelers, and let me tell you something.
I mean, the Steelers, if you can get him next to DK.
That'd be great.
Aaron Rodgers at the helm.
Hey,
that'd be awesome.
You got all the answers. I think you're a good team. I saw this made me think of it because I mentioned the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. Earlier today, there was a headline on First Take, and it was a question posed to them. And it said, I probably won't get it exactly what it said, but it basically said, does Aaron Rodgers have to play at the Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow level for the Steelers to win the division?
I would say no, but close to it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said.
Really close to it.
Yeah.
Win the division is going to be very tough for the Steelers.
Well, I asked the question to Elisha this morning, and Elisha said yes, and I said no. And kind of Elisha said, I mean, look, if you're gonna win the division, then yeah, you're gonna have to play better than those guys, and really separate yourself. I kind of said, look, this Pittsburgh defense is always awesome. Last year you had the two quarterbacks they had. Now both are starters at other places, but I don't think we have any expectations for the Jets or the Giants. And they still won 10 games, and it was mainly because their defense was holding every other team to 7 points. And so, if the defense plays that, so I asked him, where would you, if we're tiering quarterbacks, and we have a great tier, a good tier, and just like a subpar tier of just starting quarterbacks, I think we would put Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow in the great tier. Like, both those are really good quarterbacks in the NFL. Where would you put Justin Fields in a tier group?
Give me those last three tiers again.
So I'm just saying you have like an elite tier or like a great tier, a good tier, and a subpar tier.
I would say subpar.
Okay, yeah. Elisha said he would put him kind of on the fence of good and subpar. I said, okay, well, if that's where you're putting Justin Fields at, and I know you had Russell Wilson, where would you put Russell Wilson? Sure, we'll play this game too.
I would say good.
You put Russell Wilson
I would put him
good.
slightly in good.
Okay, but slightly in good. Okay, so you've got one quarterback that is either in subpar or on the fence of good subpar, and then you've got another quarterback that's just on the other side of good. At this point in the career, I'm not talking about a career as a whole. I know Russell Wilson has been a great quarterback in this league, but right now, so if you had those two quarterbacks and you're telling me that they were somewhere around the good and subpar, and this team still won 10 games, if Aaron Rodgers is just good, then if he's just better than those guys, then you at least got a chance to win the division. You're in the mix to win the division.
If Aaron Rodgers plays the way he played the last 4 or 5 games last season, where he was very good, they have a chance.
Yeah, and so but then Elisha kind of cornered me because I said, if he's just good, if he's in that good category, but if he's ahead of those other two guys, then I think they have a chance to win the division. He goes, well, that wasn't the question. The question was to win the division. That's a great point, So it's a good question. That's why it's posed on First Take. It's to get them to debate. But I am excited to see this Steelers team and what they can do this season with Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback, and maybe we see them go out and maybe bring in another receiver. I don't know what the finances are to go out there and get a guy like Terry McLaurin. I can only imagine that he wants a big deal, and I don't know if Pittsburgh can give him that. Well, we need to get to our final break of the day, and when we return, we'll wrap today's show up. We'll wrap this week up with Mo's Crunch Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the job delivered. Large orders of lumber, doors, windows, paint, plumbing, anything the job needs, all from one partner. Get it today with same-day delivery. Get it tomorrow with next-day delivery on 50,000 plus products. Or get it on your timeline with scheduled delivery on everything from framing to flooring. It's time to get your whole job, all your jobs delivered. Ask about all our new delivery options at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in a 32-ounce jar. It's so good to baste or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or a steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meats. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper was more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with a perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at the Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it.
A beloved family affair and still going strong since 1948, the Rendezvous.
It's time to get loud, y'all. The FedEx St. Jude Championship kicks off August 6th through 10th. Don't miss your chance to watch the competition unfold as the PGA Tour's top 70 players take on TPC Southwind. Experience unmatched energy, fun fan activities at every corner, delicious Memphis bites, and much more. Get your front row seat to all the drama. Tickets are on sale now at FedExChampionship.com. Kids 15 and under get in free with a ticketed adult.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Humdinger's Corporate Catering. Enjoy tacos made with crunchy slaw, grilled fish, and chicken, and the best taco sauce in town. Find out more, call Jenny Nash at 901-606-3172.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies. I know it's back to school time, so make sure to call Moe's at 901-606-3172 to set up all your fundraisers, all your back-to-school events, any back-to-school needs that you have. Moe's is here for you. Give them a call, set up any of those events. Well, kind of what I learned today, this news came out earlier this afternoon that the NFL and ESPN reached a blockbuster agreement that will place many of the league's top media holdings with the sports network in exchange for equity in ESPN that is potentially worth billions. That is according to The Athletic. And the big part of this is NFL Media that has NFL Network as well as Red Zone, which will now be owned by ESPN. So it's said in that story that there should be an announcement soon, maybe even next week, about this acquisition and what kind of what the future holds with this. But we know that they have ESPN Plus, but they are creating a new kind of direct-to-consumer subscription-based plan on ESPN, and it feels like this is going to be a big part of it. Now, we don't know what this means for Red Zone moving forward, how it will operate, how it will look. Same thing for NFL Network. Will NFL Network look more of the same? Will we kind of start seeing integration with ESPN people and NFL Network? I'm hoping because we've had a couple of the NFL Network, especially those Good Morning Football members, go to ESPN, like Peter Schrager. I'm hoping that we can get the Good Morning Football team back together with this deal. But definitely a big deal, and we don't really know much right now on what this means going forward. But it feels like next week, probably mid to late next week, we should be getting more news on kind of what the future holds for NFL Network. I know what's the biggest one for football fans is NFL Red Zone.
What I learned today is that 2021 third overall pick Trey Lance still has it.
He still got it.
2 touchdowns.
He still got it. He looked good last night.
Looked great.
He looked really good. I was impressed. If I'm the Saints, do I maybe give the Chargers a call?
I don't know if the Chargers would answer that call.
I mean, it can't get much worse than
Yeah, no, the Saints should call.
What the Saints have.
Saints should call.
I'm getting on the phone and just asking about him. It's only a 1-year deal he signed with the Chargers, so I'm calling, I'm asking. I didn't know this last night. I talked about it earlier. I mean, just listening to that game last night was so much fun. But Chris Collinsworth made the note that Trey Lance is still younger than Michael Penix Jr. and Tyler Shuck.
Not surprised at all.
So the guy that some people think could be the rookie starting quarterback for the Saints this year is older than Trey Lance, who's been in the league now for, 3 years? 4 years? Getting ready to start year
Getting
number 4?
ready to start 4.
I mean, so...
Someone give him a chance. He's got it.
Give him a call. Some of those throws last night looked really, really good. Now, I understand. Hall of Fame game. Take it with a grain of salt. He played no starters.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson last year.
Yeah, like we were all on the bus of like, oh man, DTR's gonna take over the league, and then what's he doing now? I mean,
back up for the Eagles or third string.
Really?
He's with the Eagles.
I did not know that. I knew he wasn't with Cleveland anymore because they already got too many quarterbacks over there. But he looked really good last night for the Chargers, and it was fun watching the Hall of Fame game last night. Well, what I could have done without, I could go a couple different places with this. Certainly, the Micah Parsons news was not fun to talk about earlier today. But I will go with the ESPN story, the winners and losers at the trade deadline. I wanted to bring this up earlier. We kind of ran out of time. I'll give you the winners. I'll give you the losers. The winners, I said the biggest winner was the Seattle Mariners. The other winners, the Padres, the Phillies, the Mets, the Astros, the Athletics, and the Yankees. The losers, the Twins fans, the Cubs, the Red Sox, the Reds, the Tigers, and the Brewers. Why I could have done without this? Two things. The Cubs, we talked so much about going out there and getting pitching, and I do not think they did nearly enough at the deadline to feel like they've got a good enough pitching staff to make a deep run in October. And then second, I hear all this talk about the Padres. It's a go-for-it year now for the Padres. They're going to go to the World Series. They're going to win it all. Again, they've done this so many times, and they haven't gotten anything out of it. If we were hanging banners for the winners of the deadline, they'd have so many banners. What has it turned into? Maybe it turns into something, but right now, I got to see it before I believe it.
Mine is Micah Parsons.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, it
seems like it's every year with the Cowboys. Never want to see it.
This one seems different.
It does seem different.
I'll be honest. His little statement, the notes app, that worried me. That wasn't fun reading. Like, that made me feel a little different. Like, the past couple of years, seeing some of these other guys, it's like, okay, cool. They'll work out a deal. Seeing that, but maybe that's what he wanted you to think. He wants you to think that this is super serious.
We will see.
We'll definitely see. And I'm kind of seeing all these Cowboy fans, all these Cowboy reporters, people on social media kind of saying the same thing. Let's not freak out until he misses a game. If we get to the regular season and he is not playing in week 1 against the Eagles, because that's the big one. It's not like the Cowboys are starting the season against the Patriots or the Saints. They are starting the season against the Eagles, so that's going to be a big one on Thursday night. You definitely want to have Micah Parsons out there in week 1. Where are you beaming this weekend?
Beam me tonight to Anaheim and the rest of this weekend.
Yeah.
My White Sox versus the Angels.
How about we beam to Bristol for the Reds and the Braves? They played earlier today. They played last night in a wild one in the 8th inning, both teams scoring 8 runs. Tomorrow, they'll play in a NASCAR venue, which I'm curious. I can't wait to see pictures and videos. What is that going to look like? Because usually when people go to NASCAR events, you're watching the cars go around on the track. This is going to be on the infield of the track, so it might look kind of weird. But that's all the time we have today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for Connor for hanging out this afternoon. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you again Monday afternoon.
Everything today is technological.